Girl, we're at it. I see your face. We're at it again with the Never Ever Mets, episode 3. This show is wild. It is wild, but the wild part about it is that it's not so uncommon. So this is truly a mirror into how relationships start and end. Anyway, this is going to be a really good show. So, my name is Ursula B. I am the podcast host of Black Girls Getting Their Shift Together, and we're going to get our shift together watching this show. But first,
this for the queens, sisters manifesting their dreams. Get your cream by any means and beam with self-esteem. Beauty supreme and Buddha walk so mean. The way you fit in them jeans, you eat your cornbread and greens. Dance or a doctor, red wine or vodka. Redesign your spot and redefine your mantra. Retwist your locks and realign your chakras. Doing your squats and getting closer to God, huh? Brunching with your squad or taking a girl's trip. Adjust your crown, you God's gift to the world, sis. Celestial body, drink your water. Meditate, sun-kiss goddess, heavenly order. Levitate, tribe of Ashanti. Black girl magic, melanin popping. Whether you ratchet or lavish, whether you bougie or savage, you a gift and a treasure. You got to love a black girl getting a shift together. Black girls are getting a shift together. These black girls getting a shift together, man. These black girls are getting a shift together. These black girls getting a shift together, dog.
all right, you all, we're going to get right into this. But first, let's take care of some housekeeping. If you hear my voice, whatever you're doing, please like, comment, share this video so we can get the algorithms up. If it is on a replay, please type replay and let us know your thoughts on what are your thoughts on this episode 2 and 3 and on the audio podcast. It would be greatly appreciative if you give your girl a 5-star review on all listening platforms. I sure do appreciate it. Make sure and follow me because there are some really big things coming down the Black Girls Getting Their Shift Together pipeline. I've been blessed, blessings upon blessings upon blessings. And so all this blessings is going to come out through the airwaves, but I need you to tune in by subscribing so that way you can be abreast of whatever is going on. And it's some really good stuff. A lot more interactive than it used to be, which is great. All right. Now, time for the episode. I have a guest. You've seen her before. We've been doing these. I love doing these reviews with her because she shifts my mindset. And it's always great talking to people who are like-minded, but you can always learn from someone new. And this is great because we all are in relationships. So it's just good to get different perspectives. If you want to hear more of her perspectives on relationships, there's a link in the description box. Don't go there yet. After you listen to us, then go and click on her link. All right. Viola, I'm going to bring you out into the stream.
Hello, I'm back.
She's back.
How you doing?
I'm well. It definitely feels like a Sunday, just kind of
nice and easy, right? Easy like a Sunday morning.
Really is. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Same here. Just relaxing, getting, my rest in before my week starts.
Absolutely. Well, before we get too rested, I know we're about to get activated.
Yes, honey. Let me put this hat on, this activation hat, because it's about to get live up in here.
Yes. Do you want to tell everybody who you are before we get started?
Yeah, I am Viola Borden. I am a licensed professional counselor, and I am here on a personal capacity to give my personal opinions through this podcast airwaves. So I am just excited to be here as usual.
May I interpret what you just said in my words?
Yes.
Okay, anyone who's listening, she is not therapizing. I don't know if that's a word. The cast members.
Take it.
Therapizing or whatever. She's not doing it. This is just two girls chatting it up. She just has
Absolutely.
a perspective that some of us may not
Absolutely. I should have
see.
worn my out of office hat.
She is not clocked in, people.
Right, right.
Now, if you want her professional advice, then you can click on her eyewitness counseling link.
My professional platform. Yes.
Right, on her professional, which is also in the description notes. But right now, it's just two Black girls getting their shift together.
Absolutely.
Let's get into it. Let's get into it.
Yes, yes,
Episode
yes.
2.
Let's go. Oh my goodness. And I don't know if they're aware, if the audience is aware, but we're actually covering 2 and 3.
Yes.
Yeah, because we didn't get a chance to meet. I think both of us had a pretty busy week.
It's busy.
Yeah, but I kind of want to recap that too a little bit because there was some things going on too.
Okay, let's get it then.
Yeah, where I want to start is where they started. They opened up with the fight that happened on season 1. I mean, on episode 1. We talked about it, right? We did talk about it, but it came back to, I guess, like showing a little bit of the aftermath of the fight
Yes.
when it opened up, right? And some of the things, I feel like some of the things that we talked about in episode 2 were revealed in episode 1, and they were revealed in episode 2. Like just her discomfort and how everything came about with the fight. But I wanted to know, what did you think about the show's decision to excuse them both from the show?
I agree with it for
Me too.
several reasons.
Mhm.
One, keep your hands to yourself. I'm sure they had,
Absolutely.
yeah. So they've already violated that rule. And they did
Mhm.
say that, there's a
Mhm.
no touching policy.
Mhm.
So he had to go. And with him gone, who is she there for? So
Absolutely. That would have been it would have been a whole nother dynamic if she would have stayed without him. Yeah.
absolutely. And
Mhm.
she didn't go to the show because of them. It was for
Mhm.
him and
Mhm.
the couple collectively. But it was great that they had the network or producers had him go to the hotel. They needed to be
Mhm.
separated because
Mhm.
just as quick as it flared up, who's to say if it could happen again? Because when I watched it, I thought that they were joking, but it made me uncomfortable because I could tell the undercurrent was a little too rocky for me for it just to be
Mhm.
ha ha. May I just
He
share a
laughed it
quick
off.
story?
Yeah.
May I share a quick story?
Mhm.
One of my late nights, went to Walmart about 2, 3 in the morning to get a gallon of paint. So I wanted to paint my bedroom.
Mm.
Well, I'm in line and the cashiers, they are kikiing up and laughing. And then I heard a name being flared. I think he called her a B. And she all the FUs but they were separated because they were at each other. This is while they were ringing up everybody's. There wasn't
So
many
these are 2
people.
employees?
Yes, I left that part out. Yes, these are
Oh,
2
wow.
employees.
Okay.
And they were just going at it. And then just like this fight on the show, out of nowhere, she picks up a 2 liter of Coke and she throws it at him. So that boom, explodes everywhere. He ran
Oh,
over
wow.
and jumped on her. You see, it real quick.
Just that easy. Yeah. Yeah.
And who to say if they both stayed in the house, if it would have happened again? And the flare up, the combustion and the arguing. And he's a big guy. I didn't realize he was that big.
Absolutely. Yeah. He is a big guy. He really is.
Yeah.
And you can tell he's from the street.
And he said
Yeah.
he is. Yeah, I saw him on another interview.
Mhm.
I don't know if he was trolling then, but it was some severe trauma.
Yeah, see, I don't know any of these people outside of the show. I haven't done any individual research on any of them.
Mhm.
So what I'm still trying to get to know who's who because we're still early on.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know anything like outside interviews or anything. I haven't seen any of that.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, severe. So yeah, I'm glad that they both left.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too. I agree. I agree that they both should have left. But it was surprising to me. because most shows don't do that. Right? Follow the rules like that. You know what I mean? Because they're thinking ratings shows, and just like you said, just like that, it could really go left, you know. But
Oprah said, "Not on my network. Are y'all gonna sue me? No, ma'am."
no, that's right. But yeah, absolutely. The way that they followed those rules, and it was like boom, and I think that sent a message to everybody in the
Hmm.
house. But there are a couple of people I'm not sure they got the memo, but we'll talk about that as we go along.
Girl, yes. What are your thoughts about you were glad that they were gone too, separated?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I like the fact that there's rules for a reason. You know what I mean? And
Mm,
that's why I said I think that it sent a good message loud and clear to everybody in the house to let them know
hmm.
that we ain't playing. That no, rules are rules.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Mhm. Yeah. What else did you think about what was it? I think I wrote something down. I said
Oh,
oh, that's what I was gonna say. Do you think that if they left her, what do you think if they left her in the house, what that would have been like without him?
I think I think she would have had a good time. She seems like a party girl,
Mhm.
mixing it up. I didn't see that any men would have been attracted to her. So I don't
Mhm.
think there would have been too many triangles. You just never know. Time
But
would
you
have
don't
told.
think that she was giving off flirty energy like he was saying?
I don't
Or
know if it
you
was.
think that's just her personality?
I think it's her personality. I think she
Mhm.
went probably a little too far because I've been calling everybody Chris. Greg, I mean, he went along with it, but I don't know. After a while, it kind of seemed like it was like, okay, you can chill now. Like enough
Mhm,
is
mhm,
enough.
mhm.
But I
I
don't
think
think it
that
was.
that's just her personality, but it can be taken as flirty, like he was thinking. But I think that
Mhm.
if she would have stayed, there would have been some misconceptions because of her personality and her being a party girl. So yeah, I was just curious.
So I have a question for you. What were your thoughts? This blew my mind when I don't remember the host's name, but when they talked to what is her name anyway?
Is it LaRonda Jones or something like that?
Not
Something like
LaRonda, the sister that was in the fight. Um
Alexis?
Alexis. When
Uh-huh.
LaRonda was before they told Alexis that she had to go, and LaRonda gave her the video and his response about, okay, well, I'm sorry we had this fight, but can we pretty much sweep it under the rug like it wasn't a big deal? And then after she watched it, you could tell she was hurt by it. And then she says, well, I just
Mhm.
don't know what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
sis, girl.
Absolutely. He even said that like he didn't think it was a big deal. And I think that, she commented on that saying, she didn't like the fact that he didn't think it was a big deal because it was absolutely a big deal to her.
Yeah.
But that
Do
just
you
goes to show again the disconnection, you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
even to say, I don't think it was a big deal, he didn't even acknowledge her and say,
Mhm.
I know that it was I don't feel it was a big deal, but it's apparent that it was a big deal to you. So that just to me demonstrated the disconnect. But they had
Exactly.
the least amount of time together too on the show, right? They were the only ones that had been talking for only 6 months.
There was someone on there with 3 months, I think, as well. But I think there was someone with 3 months. I'm still getting used to the cast,
Me
but
too.
it was
Yeah.
just uh when he just swept it under the rug, and that could be a blueprint on if they were to stay together. And this was huge what they went through. Can you imagine something that would be relatively
Day
small?
one. Day one.
Day one.
That was day
Exactly.
one.
Day one.
Yeah. Okay, so before we move on from them, I want to ask you, she seemed very adamant to say that she would not be getting back with him, that they wouldn't be talking again. What did you think about that?
I didn't I didn't believe her. I think she would have gone back. And we do know this is before I saw in the YouTube streets, but I didn't believe her just for the fact when she said, I just don't know what to do now.
Mm-hmm.
after
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
And but if you caught it, she also said when she was leaving, she said that she was glad that the show made that decision. She needed that because the first time somebody puts their hands on you, it should be a wrap, right? So to
Mhm.
me, it kind of sounded like had the show not wrapped it for her, right? That
Um,
she would have still been engaging. And she said, I needed that, right? Not, I don't need that. Somebody put their hands on me. I don't need the show to wrap. It's a wrap for me,
see, I forgot. It was like a
right?
okay.
The little thing she was saying to me was kind of like sounded a little conflicting to me. You know what I mean? Because she was like, no, nope, that's it. But then it was kind of like, oh, I needed that because it should be over if somebody puts their hands on you, right?
Mhm.
So I was just kind of like, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And you know what's very alarming is that she's that invested in one, well, really a lot of them, once we get into the other couples, how invested they are. And I know the online dating, but really it's starting from day one when you meet in person, because think about it,
Hmm.
a lot of their dynamics have changed once they met each other face to face.
Absolutely. I think somebody talked about that too. Yeah.
Yes.
I think she did. I think it was Alexis. I think she said, it's just not the same. You have to meet a person in person, no matter how long you're talking to a person. I think she gave an example of even a year that it's different in that you really have to get to know a person in person.
You know what, you're right, she did say that. And actually this was something good she said. No, it wasn't her. It was Sienna. So I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit, but I'm gonna come back when she said about online dating for so long that she had to fill in the blanks.
Yes, I jotted that down. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yep.
I did catch that. But I think was that show two? I think that was, I mean, show three.
Oh.
But yes, yeah, I do remember
Mhm.
her saying that, and that's
Mhm.
interesting. And it was a very valid point.
Yeah, it is. Because we do that now, or people we've had, I know I've had a history of that. And this had nothing to do with a long distance relationship. It could be,
Mhm,
well, we're just texting or talking on the phone a lot. And,
mhm.
no, we need to meet in person. We
Yeah.
let's shift this dynamic and see how it goes. It could go either way.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I did catch that. But
Mhm.
Aaron H.
Which one
Now
is
I know there are
Aaron?
two Aarons. There's Aaron J and there's Aaron H. When he was talking to Alexis before she left, I think it might have been part of the wrap of episode one. He was telling his story about how he was abused by a female.
Mhm.
Um, and that kind of, I was like, I'm glad because most men wouldn't say that,
That
right?
part.
Right. But also it does go both ways. It
Yes.
does. Domestic violence is not just a man on woman, but I don't think that, the opposite where it's a woman being the aggressor is talked about as much. But I
Yep.
was glad that he, was felt secure enough in himself to say that.
I caught that as well, because I've hopefully that could open up a portal for other men, because he said it, and he didn't hesitate. He wasn't uh no, he just said what he said, that he had been 'cause I can't say that word
Mhm.
on YouTube, but the
Mhm.
DV, he'd been
Mhm.
DV'd from his partner. I thought that was
Absolutely.
amazing, and I applaud him for that, especially being a black man saying that. I applaud him.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was
Applaud
like,
him.
okay. Yeah, and shed some light on it. And I really think about, how sometimes it can be hard, especially for an African American male. There's this kind of, or I won't just say African American males. I can only speak for the minority males that I've come across, that it can be hard to kind of admit something like that because it almost
Mhm.
is, they feel like a testament to their manhood,
Yep.
right?
Yes.
But it to me kind of speaks the opposite. You know what I'm saying? Because a man having the ability, right, to not react or to not choke a female or to use his strength where most men are tend to be more physically strong than
Mm-hmm.
women, right? I have this saying that I said a long time ago, that a man's strength is not in the display of his swing, but the display of his restraint, right?
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah, and so to me, hearing that doesn't make me look at him like, oh, you a P,
No,
right?
no, not at all.
Right, because it makes it look like you're really a man to be able to not have a woman swing on you or do all these things and be the aggressor, right? And to
Mm-hmm.
withhold, right? To have
Yep.
that level of restraint. So to me, it speaks something different. Not saying that women should be out there hitting on men and men have to be taking it, right? But it just speaks something different to me.
Agreed. Agreed. All right.
Hmm.
Anyone listening, feel free to drop your comments on what are your thoughts on this or not even the episode, but this situation with Alexis and Dominique. I know we're going back a little, but we're gonna get to 3. But let us know what are your thoughts on that. Do you feel like they both should have gone home or one? I don't know. Let us know.
Hmm. Hmm. You know what I'm thinking about getting to. That ham, I call it ham.
Damn.
Um, can you say the A word on YouTube?
Oh, I don't think
Like a
so.
donkey?
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, see, I don't know, all this etiquette, YouTube etiquette, you better at it than me, but I call it a ham, right? That
Uh-huh.
hot ass mess of Kama Sutra. What? Please, can we get into it? Can we?
Who you want to start with?
What was the producer thinking?
It was
Please tell
dumb.
me your opinion.
It was dumb. I feel like they could have done better if they were looking for a scene filler. It had I I think I see what they were trying to go with it, but I was really
Somebody should have
stretching.
pulled their tail and said, maybe we shouldn't did that. Somebody should have. That was just a hot ass mess. You hear me? First of all,
It
think
failed.
about the fact that these are all couples that have been talking online, but they're just meeting each other in
Hmm.
person. And then you're going to put them in a big old circle and put them in sexual positions. It wasn't even funny. It was just a waste of
Cringe.
yeah, it was cringe. It was cringe worthy. It really was.
It was
I
cringe.
don't know
And
what they were thinking.
watching the younger Aaron, the way the
Girl, we
way
ain't
he
arguing.
slid
We
on
already
top,
talked
it
about what
just
we think that's about, but that's just our opinions. But hey, okay.
oh
So
my god.
yes, that I mean all of them to some degree. You know what I'm saying? It was just awkward. It just felt awkward. They some of them got right into the positions, you know what I mean? But it was just awkward to watch. It
Yeah,
was.
the producers failed on that scene. It did not land. It
Mm-mm,
skidded off
mm-mm.
the freeway. It is just let it they need to keep it right over there and to never ever do that again.
Yeah. Oh
Ever.
yeah. Yeah. I don't know. But there was what do you think about oh, what is her name? Sienna. Sienna and Brandon, right?
Girl.
When he was sitting on her and he made the comment that he was bored. What do you think that was about?
That was kind of flat. I didn't know where that came from.
Yeah, I didn't think it was a jab at her. I thought it came from this is awkward. I don't really know what to do. I don't know why he said bored. He could have said this is awkward. He could have said so many other things, but I didn't necessarily see it as a jab at her. But
No,
yeah, but it was like I'm bored. I think that it was nervousness.
I would agree with you on that because I'm not going to go deep until we get to the next episode, but he did
Mhm.
reference like he's just not a confrontational person.
No,
Uh I interpret it as bored like okay, let's move on. I don't think he likes to be the center
absolutely.
of attention that kind of whether if it's
Yeah.
positive or something negative like they've experienced and it's just
Mhm. Yeah,
not
I
for
agree.
him. But it's not
Yeah,
a
I agree.
jab. That's not, I
Yeah.
don't get that from him being passive aggressive like that.
Mm-mm.
No.
Mm-mm. No. He seems he comes off as very laid back, and I believe that he's a very laid back person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think that when Lexus left, um Diamond, um there was a scene where Diamond walked her out, and she said she was crying, like literally physically, like
Mhm.
crying. What did you think about that?
I don't remember that scene.
You don't
And she,
remember when she said, "Let me hold your hand," and she was walking her out, and which she left very graciously. I forgot to say that when we were talking about her, but Diamond walked her out. But before she walked her out, there was a scene when she walked into the room and told all the ladies that she was leaving. You
I
don't
don't
remember?
remember that.
Yeah, because first she encountered when she came back in and found out that she had to leave. She first encountered Millie, and she told Millie first, and they went upstairs to all the other ladies, and she told all the other ladies who were sitting in the bedroom.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's coming back.
Yeah, and
All the
Diamond was the first one to start crying, and that made me think about the caddy comment. Maybe there's something about that that was, I don't know, maybe something that was triggering for me, right? But she get
mm,
men saying that she don't do women, but she's the first one to cry. She's the first one to interview the lady. She's the first one to, right? So I'm a little bit confused by it. I still
I
am.
in my opinion, felt like that could have been genuine with her with the
Uh-huh. Yeah,
consult.
I'm not saying that it wasn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel that because she's not quick to talk about what has gone on with her and her man, and I think she does.
There it is. There it is. There it is.
They're funny, and I feel that she does it almost as a dominance. Like, oh well, our relationship. We're both PKs. We're staining from having any of intimacy. um we're here, so we're gonna counsel everyone and we're gonna interview everyone. Girl, what's going on with you? Because he embarrassed you fully on social media, and that will never go away. Like, come
And
on
that
now.
they talked about it. They talked about it. They cleared it up, right? But I agree with you. I think that I don't see it necessarily as dominance. I see it as distraction. They are trying to
Oh,
distract or deflect from what's going on with them so that they can stay in this position. It is a power play, almost in a power
that's the
position, like you're
word.
saying, with dominance, right?
The power
But
play.
I
I
think
like
it's more of a deflection. Like, oh, look over here. Look over what's going on over here. You ain't paying attention to what's going on over here, kind of thing, right?
that. Yeah. And then the
Yeah,
little
I agree
nuance.
with that.
Yeah, what's her man, Aaron? Then us as the, not saying what he's saying is right or wrong, but as us being the elders of the group, sir, you're doing little boy stuff too. Your
Mhm.
communication is not that well. I mean, if you are you cheating on her when you propose to someone? I mean, you obviously were having two relationships at the same time. You're
Mhm.
saying you didn't know if they were gonna last. Well, what does that mean? Like, I need more context. I need
Absolutely.
more
Absolutely.
context.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. We're not getting all of the context because they're so focused on everybody else's relationships. That's
Yeah.
the deflection part. Yeah.
Don't let me be in the house. I would have tapped her.
Oh, I know you would be firing questions at everybody like pew, 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 pew.
Like, ma'am, now you come and
Oh
sit
yeah.
down here. What's going on with you?
Oh, I can see it now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Ugh.
Absolutely. Yeah, that I just was curious about that. Like,
Mhm.
okay. And not to say that things can't change, and I do believe she was genuine, that she built a relationship with the ladies, but because she was so closed off coming in, I was just curious as to if you thought that that was fear or something, that catty statement, because she seems to be actually like the first one to engage with the lady, first one to ask questions, the first one to cry, the first, you know what I mean, to build the connection. So I'm kind of like, interesting.
It is, and I cannot wait to see how these episodes play on to see what's going to come out, how it looks. It may or may not, but I would
Yeah.
not be surprised if it does. Because for someone, think about it, there was what, 7 women in the house. Only one person said, "Oh, I don't do women." So
She was the only one. She was
that's
the only one.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, but to come in with that, right? And because she is the age that she is, we're not talking about somebody 20, 22, 23 years old. We're talking about somebody a little bit up in age that should have a sense of who they are and what they want and what they don't want. You know what I mean? So the switch just happening, I think maybe that's why I'm stuck on it, because it went from, nope, I'm good, women are catty, I don't fool with women, to you being the most involved woman with all the other women in the house, right? Kind of type of situation. So I think it was the shift in the dynamic. It was so, and I'm still trying to adjust. Like, oh, hold on, wait a minute,
Yeah.
right? Because we're
Exactly.
only on episode 3, but I'm like, you switched quick. It wasn't even like 4 or 5 episodes. You take the time to get to know the ladies, then you build. It was just like, I don't fool with you. Like, oh, we good, and I love you, and I'm crying because you're leaving. So I just was curious. I don't know.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait. And then
Me
she
too.
said it,
Me
and
too.
but nothing triggered her to say it. There was nothing. The women are getting along.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though I put a pin in that for episode 3, but the women
Mhm.
are getting along. So
Mhm.
you just came in with preconceived notions. So
Well, I think everybody still is fairly early, and you're meeting everybody's representatives, believe it or not. Like, I know that there's some personalities, but give it another couple episodes and we're gonna really see some. I think we're gonna really see some stuff. This is just the tip of the iceberg.
So anyone listening, let us know. Do you feel that Diamond, was her comment justified about not doing women and how she's switching up? Let us know what your thoughts. So while we wait
Mhm.
on that, let's go on. What else you got on your notes?
Oh, I had the Joanna and Aaron J. Joanna and Aaron J.
They are okay. What's your question? I was about to go look at your face, girl.
I don't even know what to say about those two. So, because I'm like, okay, when it comes to them, I'll be honest. I watched episode 2 and I watched episode 3, and some of the stuff, I'm not sure if it's episode 2 or episode 3 or where it happened, but I'm just kind of like, you got one in the hot tub, you got one doing her nails. You Every time you see them, they in separate scenes. Make me understand it. And this whole "I don't need to be up in nobody's face" comment, it's kind of like, okay. But I mean, wasn't that the point of the show, to come and get up in the person's face? Like, to get, I'm not understanding it. I'm
If
I'm
that's
I'm
the
at a
case,
loss.
they should have just continued to do the online dating. Because if you're okay being apart, then why are you here?
Mhm, mhm.
She does not like him at all.
That's
She's not
that's
attracted.
the vibe I get.
She's not attracted to
That's the
him at
vibe
all.
I get, but as we move into 3, we might be able to kind of begin to uncover why.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I feel from 1 and 2 episodes that she it probably shifted when she met him, but you're right, in 3, that compounded on more of her not being attracted to him, and
Mhm.
he's wait, I'll put the picture when we get to 3. So yeah, and that Karma Sutra exercise, that was a perfect example of the disconnect between them.
Did you see when she actually said, "Okay, he's on top, she's on the bottom. She looking this way, he looking at." She said, "Y'all, how y'all gonna connect? Y'all not even looking at each other." But it's interesting, right? Because you think, oh well, that's the position that they had, but you got to remember they had the choice of 2 positions, and they chose the one where they were not having to look at each other in the eye.
Mhm.
Maybe that's very telling.
It is extremely telling. Actually, it is for a couple of the couples. It is telling on
Mhm.
I didn't catch it the first time. I was like, wait a minute now. Then I went back and watched. I said, okay, well, it makes sense with this couple. And you can see who's connecting, who's connected, and who is just a absolute disconnection. And they're not trying to connect.
Mhm. And that, I think, is a part of what the producers were trying to do with the whole ham debacle. But I think that by giving them two positions and letting them have to choose, right? And it
Mhm.
gives, I think it gave an opportunity for them to see maybe if this person prefers one thing and this person prefers another, that there's some kind of, you know what I mean? They had to agree on the position. Right.
Yes. The
So I think that in that sense, it does tell, and it was very telling. But I just feel like you should have had them individually in a room doing it without the whole group. That's my whole issue,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. And it could have been a test of their communication as well. Because when Sienna and Brandon, how she was sitting on top of him, even her body was closed off, not facing him. It was still crisscrossed and closed off. And LaRonda, you know, I'm going to, is that her name? The host said, oh, so you're not
Yeah.
going to ask him?
We
So
got to
she,
have her name correct when we come back next
I
time.
know, I'm going
Yeah.
to do better. I'm going to do better. I think it is
Yeah.
her, the
I'm
host.
thinking it's LaRaja or LaRonda,
I
but
think you
we
said
should
it right.
know. Yeah,
But
we
when
should
she said, "Oh, so you're not gonna ask him," I was like, "Oh, she." This is the theme of how they are, because Sienna is extremely dominant.
Who, Sienna?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. That brings me to my last comment.
Okay.
Um, the pool, shooting pool, when they were shooting pool together and they were
Mhm.
having that conversation, about, I don't even know if they really were they addressing, I can't remember if they were addressing the Kama Sutra stuff or not.
Mm-mm.
But they were having a conversation and she just snapped on him. Snapped on
Out
him
of
and called
nowhere.
OD. I was like, oh,
I didn't
oh,
see it coming.
oh yeah. That was, I was like, whoa. You know what I mean? Like that's something you say when you are in, I mean, you shouldn't say it anyway, but that's something that I feel you say when you are in a fight. When there's no holds barred. You know what I mean? We shooting pool and we're just having a conversation and I offend you and you went straight for the jugular. Like, ugh. I was like,
Yeah,
whoa, that was deep.
she's
That
vicious.
came that came from the gut. That came from the belly. She dug way down in there and was like, wow. I was
And
like, that was a lot.
and she kept going with it. They were
Yeah.
talking about past relationships and how he felt that she was a flip flopper or
Yes.
changes hot and cold. Those are my words, but the hot and cold of it. And she also admitted that other men have told her that she
Oh
is
yeah.
hot and cold. So where he's just
That,
being
but that's why I don't
consistent.
understand the level of offense to that comment,
I
right?
think she was activated. It activated her. Probably
Yeah.
ashamed, and this is how she lashes out.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody got something. Yeah, that was big for me. That right there was like, whoa.
And it makes me wonder if it was Dominique, how that would have gone, because it would.
We know Dominique, like he a little handsy.
Is the way you're
A
making
little
your
handsy. I
hand.
don't know. You know?
Girl,
Yeah. Mm-mm. Yeah, that was not.
extremely disrespectful.
But I'm glad that you brought up Dominique again while we're talking about this because it just clicked for me that I have a problem, whether it's a male or a female, that I have no level of bias. You know what I
Mhm,
mean? And
mhm,
that when I see things that are that level of unhealthy, it's triggering for me, whether it's a
mhm.
female doing it or whether it's a male, that I'm not biased, that I'm
Yes,
not just like, oh, well, she just could have said that better. You know what I mean? If it's wrong, it's wrong. And that was wrong. Just like Dominique was wrong with his situation, I feel like this was equally as wrong, even though it wasn't physical. It was, she went to the worst verbal word. You
yes.
know what I mean? For a man. So I'm just like, oh yeah, that was not good at all.
No, it was not. And it seemed like he's pacing himself. I was I did watch that part over again to see any glitches on his face. So I feel like he holds a lot in.
That's what I'm wondering. That's what I'm wondering. If it's a situation to where he's just learned to really pace himself, or is it a situation where it's being swept under the rug and eventually he gonna trip over it? Right. So that's
Ooh.
what I'm curious about. Yeah, because
Ooh.
it was very just stoic and very blank and flat, his
You saw
response.
that too.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you
Yeah.
saw it. I agree.
And I was like, no twinge, no, nothing, just nothing, not like, oh, okay, nothing.
Oh, he was just right there. Okay, let me hit the pool, hit the ball. Like,
Yeah,
"Mhm."
but even the fact that he didn't even say, I would appreciate it if you use a different word, or you don't use that word towards me, anything. He had like zero response, and that's the part for me that seems a little scary, right? A little
Mhm.
scary. But then he talked to homegirl talked to him, because I think that, remember when Millie and Greg, were talking to them individually.
Mhm.
What did you think about her having a problem with him talking to Millie? But wasn't she just talking to Greg in the scene before? I mean, if I remember correctly.
That's exactly what she was doing. But that's a thing that she does. She'll get on Brandon about something that she does.
Yeah.
Not trying
I
to
was
hold
like,
him at this
oh,
higher level. This is just what I'm looking at. And she
yeah.
deflects and she projects. She does all of that. But she was doing the same thing.
Because I was like, if I'm not mistaken, Greg sat down with her to try to, I guess they were trying to help them, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And then she leaves from the conversation in the backyard with Greg, walks into the room, sees him talking to Millie, and straight just is not
Snaps.
feeling it. Yeah,
Girl.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know about that one. I'm not writing them off yet. You know what I mean? I haven't written them off yet. I haven't. I really
Why
haven't.
not? I'm just curious.
And I'll tell you why, because I feel like she's extremely self-aware.
Who?
Sienna.
You think so?
She is. She doesn't respond well when people say it to her, but she does. If you notice, and this is no, we're going into see. I will talk about it on 3, but there's certain things that she says that she is very aware that she is emotional. People have said these things to her, right? So she's aware that she even says, I'm a lot. I think she said that a couple times, you know what I mean? Like, I'm strong, I'm a lot, right? So I think that she is self-aware. I think that, maybe this is the therapist in me, right? Believing that with the right therapist, they might have a future. Because I think he
Girl.
got some work to do too.
He does. He
Yeah.
does.
Yeah. But
I
that's what I mean. I haven't written them off. There's some couples I work with, I tell them from the jump, I will tell them, listen, I'm going to let you know, if it's my professional opinion that you should not be together. What you do with my professional opinion is up to you. But I am the type of therapist that will let you know that this isn't healthy. I don't see this working out.
well, I got my therapist degree from TikTok University, and with an undergrad in YouTube social
Oh, Lord.
work. They do not need to be together.
No,
I've,
in the
I've
condition that
written them
they're
off.
in, they need help. They need help. That's just my opinion. They need help. If they get some help, they might be all right as a people.
Look,
That's just
so
my opinion. Maybe that's my crap and I'm biased. I don't know.
here's my degree that I got at the gas station in the brochure section. This is my
You're like,
therapist degree.
no. But remember, we're talking about episode 2.
Woo. Okay.
right?
Oh, yes,
We're
yes, yes.
still talking about where they were. I'm talking about this incident, right? They're getting to know one another. And I think they kind of said, like, listen, we're getting to know one another, right? How we communicate, blah, 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 whatever. So we're talking about episode 2. Now, when we get to 3, my opinion might shift a little, even
Okay.
though, right?
Okay. Okay. I like it. Well,
Mhm.
speaking of 3, are we ready for that, or do you still
Yeah,
have more?
girl, I'm ready. I'm ready to follow you into 3.
Girl. Okay. So let's see. Um, let's go into, you want to go into Aaron and Jody?
Aaron and Jody. Jody. Okay, Aaron and Jody. And
Joanna,
so that's
Jody.
Aaron J and Jody. Oh,
Younger Aaron and
mhm.
the BFFs, because they are not feeling each other. They're not.
Oh, they BFFs?
That's what I call them. I
Oh,
don't.
I didn't get the memo.
Yeah, I just call them that because
I didn't
there's
get the
no.
memo because I don't read BFF. So my bad. I I get maybe acquainted.
Yeah. Yes.
I do not get BFF.
No.
Now, if you want to talk about BFFs, we could talk about Jody and somebody else because they are building some friendship there.
They
Okay.
are. You know, speaking of that, can I go back just a little bit?
Hmm.
I can see Brandon with Sandia, the
Brandon.
Haitian sister.
Okay. Okay.
They're both
Okay. Tell me why
subdued.
you think that.
Uh, they both are subdued, at least from
Mhm.
what I've seen so far. Um, I don't think Brandon is comfortable with confrontation. I don't think
Mhm.
he'll get that from Sandia.
So you're saying just in terms of the communication style or in a relationship in general?
Their communication style doesn't mean that
I can
they're
see that in terms of their communication style, but I can't see them together as a couple. But yeah, in their communication style, they have similar communication styles. But
right.
similar isn't always, to me, better.
Right. Because they could be, wait, what is it? They could be compatible, but not, uh, I can't think of the word. It starts with the C. It's in the tip of my tongue. But yeah, I agree with what you're saying because they are similar,
I
but
think they're too similar, right?
Mhm.
Almost in a sense. They do communicate the same way, but right, somebody has to be the driver and somebody has to be the passenger, right? And if you got two
Mm,
people that are the passengers, right,
okay.
who's driving,
That makes
right?
sense.
I kind of look at it like a plane with no wings. It can't fly.
Mm,
Right?
okay.
So sometimes if you're so similar, right, and we're both so laid back, nobody's really taking the right. And when that's why I asked you if you were saying in terms of a couple, right? Because in terms of a couple, I can't necessarily see Sandia with somebody like him because she seems to want or desire someone who is a driver.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what she gets in Chris because she gets that he's going to take the lead. He's going to, right? So she's a little bit more not passive because I don't think she's passive, right? But I do think that she wants to be led,
Okay. I would agree with that for sure.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I'm like, I don't know if I could actually see them going far. I feel like they might fall into the friend zone because they're
Yeah.
both going to just kind of be like not really communicating, right? And Sandia
Mhm.
is a communicator. She will communicate, but I don't necessarily see Brendan as a communicator.
No. No, I don't
Mhm.
either. So speaking of Jody, going back to her, do you think that she is attracted to
Aaron?
no, we know she's not attracted to Aaron's not
You
attracted to
don't need to
Aaron.
beat that dead horse.
We're gonna just put that relationship to
Put
rest.
that to bed. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. I
Chris.
don't put the flower arrangement on it. It's down. It's down. Okay.
R.I.P. to that one.
Okay. Got it. Got
To
it.
Chris.
So are we talking about Chris?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I think that she is physically attracted to him. I do. I do. And everything is right, Chris. All right, Chris. Right. And my thing is, if you notice, in terms of proximity, I don't know if you caught the scene where she was sitting there. I think that somebody was sitting next to her, and then it was Sandia, and then it was Chris. And I mean, she put the head all around, like skipped over everybody, like, right, Chris? Like, she
Yes.
communicating with him, honey, and he all the way on the other end of the table. You know what I mean? Yeah, she goes kind of, I feel like, out of her way to
Mhm.
communicate with him or compliment him. So there's something there, in my
Because
opinion.
there is, because she compliments him more, has more eye to eye contact than she has with Aaron.
Hmm.
And
Absolutely.
and then Chris likes to flirt. He said that. He's like, I
Hmm.
like flirting with women. So that's probably a stroke to his ego as well.
Hmm.
With how she's flirting with him, like low key, she really is in front of her, quote unquote, in front of her man, you know?
So let me ask you, because I think you're bringing up a really good point, and it's making me think about something. Do you think that she is attracted to him because he's giving off that energy and she needs that?
Absolutely. I think it's both.
Okay, so you think
Physically,
she's physically attracted to him, but also because she needs that to bounce
a
back and forth to get to
leader,
know the person? Okay, gotcha.
whether he's a toxic one or not, he, like you say, does not mind being the pilot of the plane, the driver, as you said. So I'm not gonna go into if it's toxic or not. He does have that characteristic, and I
Hmm.
mean, I've been joking, but for real, Aaron he's in the trunk, like he's pushing the car while he's just, and I like him, but
Not in the trunk.
he's in the trunk or he's behind pushing it, pushing the car or the plane, or he's the one running behind, like, wait, pick me up. They
Wait for me. Don't
wait
leave
for
me.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he's a little bit absent. Yeah, he
He
is.
wait, hold on. And this you're gonna holler. I know I did. So yeah, she is definitely attracted to Chris physically, and look at this girl. This said it all right.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm
That
sorry.
picture said
Yeah.
everything.
He is not present. He is absent, honey. He is absent and she is all in. Okay.
Wait, here's another one. And now
Oh my goodness. I think, you know what? You know what's so funny?
what?
I think these two pictures you just showed me is the most I remember seeing them together.
Right. And this is the closest I've seen them together as well. Physically.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting.
So for
He
the
got the
audio,
guns out.
I know he does have nice little arms. They're not little, but he has nice arms. She doesn't care
Hmm.
about none of that. She really
No,
doesn't.
no, no.
Mm-mm, she
Mm-mm.
doesn't. And so for
Yeah,
the
that's
audio,
interesting.
yeah, the
Yeah,
audio
see,
listeners,
body language, I told you, body language is a big part of communication.
it really is. Let
What
me
does it what do you think his body is saying in that last picture?
wait. Can you describe it? Because this is going to go on the audio podcast too. If you can briefly describe what you see, so they know what we're looking at.
Okay, so I mean, his positioning, his facial expression, right? His body language. I don't know if you're catching that, the lean, how he's leaning
Yeah.
away from her, right?
Yes.
You see how he shifted to one side, right?
Yep.
And you can't read into everything, but body language is a communication. There's tons of research on it, right? But I mean, tell me in terms of what you think his facial expression is saying, his body language is saying.
With his eyes closed, he may have just zoned out, thinking about someone else, or
He think
or
about pizza, girl. That pizza.
yeah, he is definitely zoned out. He's probably wishing that this
Yeah,
scene would be over so he can get away from that table. His
yeah.
arm was up, so everyone who cannot see it on the audio, he has his elbow on the table with his arm, his hand under his chin, almost like
My
a
favorite
wall.
position.
A what?
I said my favorite position. I sit like that often, but that's my thinking, listening, and that's not what I'm getting from him.
No, he was not listening. Or
He was
no,
ordering a pizza in his head.
yeah, he just look.
Yeah, that body language right there, that's giving off something else. I feel like he's meditating.
Girl,
He
no.
almost gives off a sense of, his positioning with his hand in his face, like his hand is laying in his face, not resting on his palm, on his hand, but his face is laying in his hand. It's almost like he's in a meditative state.
I didn't get that. I got that. It's like a block, like a putting another boundary between
Block her
them.
out. He's in meditating. He's gone to another place.
Yeah. Or you know what? He could be because he is a creative. So he probably is doing his raps in his head, or he said he's a screenwriter. Who knows? All I know
Right. He is not present. He is
he's not
100% absent.
100%.
Yeah.
And of course, Sandia is just right there. Just she's just
Yeah.
there. It's
And
like,
she
girl.
I don't know if you caught it in this episode, but with her kind of giving him all of these Joanna giving Chris all of these compliments and saying things. Have you caught that look right there is a look that she's sending to Joanna. I've caught her give her a look a couple times like interesting, not like heifer, you better back up. You know what I mean? But it's kind of just like, okay, I see that, right? I think she's catching on
Yes.
to how much energy that Joanna is throwing Chris's way.
Yes. She's catching it. And she I don't have the picture. I don't know why it didn't download, but there was a picture. I don't know if you caught it. She was giving Chris the same look, like, you mother.
Mhm.
She was
Mhm.
cutting his eyes, but she already said that that's a trigger for her with his flirting.
Flirting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she said he does
Yeah.
too much. Those are her words. That's not what I'm saying. Those are her words. But she's
Mhm.
just there like a hologram. It's like, girl, get in the game. Get in the
But
game.
that's what I mean when you said about her and Brandon being together, right? It's like a plane.
Mm,
It's not with no wings. It's not going to fly.
I can see that when you put it like that. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she's
I don't
always
see
just
that
like
either.
lurking around the corner, or that's how it was in the first episode, the second episode. She's
Mhm.
just
Mhm.
there. It's like, girl, he
Yeah.
is railroading her. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
not
and
rooting for
and
them.
that it may be I think that because Chris seems to be a big personality, and it seems like and if you go back to episode 1 where he's doing a lot of talking with the males and he's like front and center, I think he likes to be front and center,
Yes.
and I think that also when we're talking about Joanna being attracted to his energy in order to be able to be who she is, I think it's the same thing for him with Joanna, right? Because she gives him the floor to let him perform. And she
Girl,
every time he performs, she's clapping like, "Yay, good job," right?
that's
And so I think that
good.
they're feeding off of each other's energy in order to be able to show up as themselves. They need that.
That's some good. I love what you said about her giving him the floor. That's some good stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One second. I'm just getting this up,
Mhm.
looking up some more of my notes. But let me get this off. So yes, I like that. And they I just need her to step it up. And she's gonna stay right. She meaning Sandia is going to be right there.
She said she's willing to fight for it as long, but I don't want nobody to miss the part where she said, as long as he's taking accountability. I know, but she did say it.
What do you mean when you said I know? Well,
Because I know that look, right? And I get that look that, okay, her mouth is saying one thing, right? That she's
mhm.
saying that she's if he takes accountability. But I do think that that's the first step, that she did mention it. That she did mention that he needs to take accountability, like when he hurts her, or he says something, or he does something inappropriate, that she's willing to fight for it, right? But he needs to take accountability for what he did wrong.
But that's the thing. Well, episode 2, when she stated her needs and wants, he blew it off. I mean, he listened to her, but he blew it off. And then, oh, you're being sensitive or a baby, and then jokes it over. He's very
Hmm.
charismatic, and he's a good
Yeah.
looking man, you know,
Mhm.
and just
If you like that type.
if you like that type. Even I
Mhm.
think even if you right, even if you like that type, but if you don't, he does have charisma. Whether someone's attracted to it or not, he does
Mhm.
have it. So I felt like he was just polishing over it with her. Just okay, okay, come on, give me a kiss. Okay, let's keep it. Let's move it on. Okay, next,
Mhm. Mhm.
and then using his
Well,
charisma
I think
just to,
she's gonna have this problem often if
yes,
they stay together. I think so, because
yeah,
he's making it very clear, I am who I am, and you get what you get.
girl. He said that with his chest, and she's gonna stay. I, it's giving desperation.
Okay.
It to
Okay.
me it is.
Mhm. Okay.
I yeah.
I can see how you would think that. Mhm.
Yeah, because what is she fighting for? He is not trying to fight for her.
Mhm.
I don't see it.
Mhm.
I think he
Yeah.
appeases her enough just to quiet her down, which it doesn't take much. Think
And
about it.
that's what it was. It was, she looked at it as accountability, because she said that, as long as he takes
Mm,
accountability. But it's true what you're saying, that it was appeasement. Like, okay, I hear you.
right.
I hear you. I heard what you said. Yeah. And that's where it started, and that's where it stopped, right there. I heard what you said. Yeah. So
Mhm.
it was more of appeasement than, accountability. But okay, we'll see how it plays out.
Exactly. Anything to add on to that couple before we move on?
No, no. But there's I'll wait, because I'll wait for you to get to them. But yeah, no, not on that couple. I told you from the very beginning that I don't have a whole lot of stake invested in that couple, Sandia and Chris. I don't know why,
Right.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
I can't see this thing taking off, and phew, I don't see it.
Oh no. I don't see it, but I can see it happening because she wants it more than he does. So,
Mhm. But I don't think I mean, she wants him, but I think she wants it. And I think you use the right words more than he does. It being a relationship, a family,
yes.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. And that's why I said I can see where the desperation thing comes in when you made the desperation comment, because she does want it more than he does. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. So, what about Millie and Greg? And I'm going to the scene where they were in the hot tub
You hit
and
it. You
he
hit it. That's
kissed
that's what I
her.
put on my note. Was that, or was that not, the most awkward kiss ever? Did you read her body language, or is it just me? Am I the only one that reads body language?
So, this is what I got. He leaned in. She turned her head to the side so that he would miss her mouth, catch her cheek. She did turn her head face to face. And then she was leaning back as he was
Boom.
pushing forward and kissing
And he
her.
was coming, and she was like,
Yes,
the whole, it was the most awkward
it was cringy.
kiss ever, seen ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you catch when it was Josh gave him the advice to put his foot down, right? In terms of the physical increasing physical intimacy. Did you catch that when they were sitting outside eating, the men in the backyard, and he said, maybe you need to put your foot down. And the scene, it happened after. I don't know if it happened after, because you know how they chop and screw these scenes, but they showed it after the hot tub,
Mhm.
and he went for it. Right. And I'm wondering if it was based on, that was his way of putting his kind of foot down and letting her know, I crave more intimacy. Right.
Mhm.
When I have a little teeny bit of an issue with Millie, not because she pulled back. Every woman has a right. That's not why, right? What I feel is that she's kind of self-centered. Everything's
Ooh.
about her. When she's not taking into account, when she talks about the relationship, it doesn't sound to me like, it sounds like her vision, her thing. She talks a lot. And I don't know if you've seen when she cuts scenes and does her little testimonials, she says things like, who knows, maybe we'll get married, maybe this, right? But
Mhm.
then when she gets in the scene, it's all about, don't think, and I'm just trying to make sure, because you ain't, and it's all about defense, right? But I'm concerned, because to me, it's like, you got your vision, right, that maybe one day we'll get married, maybe this thing will work out, right? And then you get into a scene with him, right? And if you have this vision, you're putting zero effort towards reaching the vision, right? Right? Everything
Mm.
is pull back, draw back, protect, right? And I'm just like, I'm confused, because one moment you're talking about marriage, and the next, and not saying that you gotta give them a kiss so you can get married. Y'all don't misunderstand me, right? But what I'm saying is, it seems that she's very concerned about her what's perceived or what's being taken from her, opposed to connecting and maybe thinking about what it is that he may need or crave. I
Mhm.
haven't heard her say anything about, I know that he craves more intimacy, but I need to do this. It's me, me. They better, make sure he don't want too much from me, right? And so to me, it just seems like a very self-centered view. It doesn't seem like
Mm.
very, in terms of the connection. She's only thinking about herself in those moments. I mean, am I the only one?
You are, because I didn't catch that, but now I'm gonna look at it with a different eye now. That's why I like when you come on, because it gives me different perspectives on how people interact with each other. Because I didn't catch that. I was confused by her. That's what I was catching. Because it's like, well, do you like him or you don't like him? I thought,
That's what you get from taking that in, because one minute it seems like she likes him and she's talking about they might get married, and the next minute she's like,
yeah.
right? So it does present conflict, but it does come to me, she's very, and that's where I was telling you in episode 1 that what I was getting from her is that maybe there was some pain or some trauma or something there. She's very guarded, but to me it doesn't seem like she's focused on the connection. She's focused on guarding herself, making sure he don't, I make sure he like me, make sure he ain't trying to just sleep with me, make sure he ain't trying to
that
just this,
that part.
right?
Yep.
But you're not, what you're protecting yourself, but I don't see or hear a lot. She did make one comment in when they were all in the whirlpool together, in the hot tub together, where he asked her what her opinion on was another couple, and she said, well, I'm just here for you.
See, that's the part that confuses me. That's what I don't get. That's what I don't understand. And it'll come. We'll see.
Mhm.
I was catching it more. I want to make sure he likes me before I do anything physical, or I don't want, because he's
But that's
very.
okay. But if you look, right, it's from a
Mhm.
very defensive place. And when we put up you have to remember, this is what I tell people, and I don't want to go into my therapeutic hat, right?
Right.
But I tell people all the time that you have to remember that offense serves two purposes, right? It keeps you protected, keeps you in, but it also blocks people out. Right. So when you go up
Mm.
your guard, right, and you're trying to make sure he really likes me for me, right? But you're not proving that you really like him for him. You're not it's not about connection. It's about guarding me, making sure that I get what I need, or somebody don't take too much from me, right? And so you miss the mark on the connection. So I think that they're there physically and they
Mm.
both want it, but I think that because when she's guarded, right, that
Mm.
she misses the mark or opportunities to build the connection to feed the ideal that she's presenting about them getting married. That's just my opinion.
Mm. Do you think that, I'm just curious on your opinion on this. Do you think that he is physically coming on too strong to her?
No, I don't. And
I
maybe
don't
that's
either.
just because it's me, right? I have to think about the fact that she has already communicated that she is there's a physical attraction there, that she's physically attracted to him. She has communicated over and over again, right? That they are she wants them to, and maybe they'll get married, right? So we know where her head is at in terms of what she's saying that she wants, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it is very confusing. I don't necessarily think that he's coming on too strong because I think that he's been a complete gentleman. And my thing is
Mm-hmm.
this is the third episode. And if we took it in terms of third episode, 3 nights, right? We
Mm-hmm.
have to think about the fact that these people have been communicating for 3 years. 3 years. So
Mm-hmm.
are you not taking into account anything that transpired in those 3 years, even though we know y'all lived in the same city and made zero effort to see each other,
Oh, I
right?
forgot about that, them being
Okay,
that
right.
couple.
Let's not forget that, right? But they do have 3 years of history. So I'm going, what did y'all do in those 3 years? Did y'all talk once every 6 months? I don't get it, right? Because you're here with this person that you've been communicating with or claiming that you have an online relationship for 3 years, right? For three
Mm-hmm.
years. And then you're here and it's 3 nights in and you don't feel comfortable enough to give the guy a kiss. It wasn't like he was groping her or doing, and maybe we didn't see it. I don't know. Because, sometimes they come back and say behind the scenes what was going on. But from what they displayed, right, they were together. They were kind of cuddling with each other, playing, he's holding her. She's comfortable. She seemed comfortable. And then he goes in for a kiss. You're telling me after dating somebody online for 3 years, right? Being in their presence for 3 whole nights, and you don't want to kiss them because you feel like if they kiss you, they want too much from you. Something ain't adding.
Right. Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought my connection went down.
No, that was me just honey. Something is not adding up to me with her.
Yeah, it's
You don't think that, first of all, and I'm not saying all men are physical, right? But
uh,
it's common knowledge that sometimes men have a tendency to be maybe more physical, right? Women, say women tend to be more emotional, men tend to be more physical, right? You
okay.
don't think to some degree that he would want to put his lips on your lips after 3 years of dating you?
Exactly.
I'm
Um,
just, I don't know. What do you think about that?
I think that mm, I'm trying to be careful with YouTube.
Yeah, you know the words I don't. So
Right.
yeah.
I'll say this. I don't think he's coming on too strong to her.
Okay.
I think he is being assertive. And he said that if you don't mind me, like I'm into you. If you don't mind, I don't mind taking the lead on this. I'm like, oh, okay, I like that a lot. But I don't think he's being overly aggressive with it. It seems he's attracted to her. And maybe, I don't know if something happened, and obviously something must have happened in her past. What I don't know, just for her to be
Right,
that
that's what I'm saying.
guarded.
There's something more. There's something
Yeah.
more we don't know. We need more info on that. Yeah, I agree.
Hmm. And I feel that whatever that is, once she gets over that speed bump, I could see them
Yeah,
dating.
I hope that she gets over the speed bump before she, misses the opportunity with him because I do think that they seem like they would make a good couple.
Right.
I
But
think that she may be so defensive and so self-protective that she might miss the opportunity to actually have the connection that he's craving and needs too.
so I'm gonna make a prediction.
Okay.
We're gonna we're gonna go back to this episode, you and I, what we're saying, and I'm gonna call it. I believe it may come out in a couple more before this series is over. Maybe one reason why she's holding back. Well, aside from maybe some past trauma she's
Mhm.
had, like, sir, we lived in the same city. We could have been doing this face to face before we got on this show. So I need to make sure you really like me. I don't know, but I need to know
But
more.
that's not just him. He ain't solely responsible for that. They live
That's
in the same city. Because you know how I feel about that. We already talked about that in episode 1. I
we
think it was
did.
both of their responsibility, and I don't think it's personally fair for her to even take that perspective to say we lived in the same city, and if you wanted something to happen, it could have
Well, you said she
happened.
was self-centered now, or had those
No, no, no. I'm
tendencies.
saying I don't think this particular thing,
Oh,
right? I think that they both had some level of responsibility because some women like me, I'll take me for instance, I am more old school, right? I ain't chasing no man, right?
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm,
I believe that from the old school perspective, my only job is to let a man know that I'm open to his attraction or whatever, right?
right.
So I'm letting you know the door is open, the lights on, right? The lights
Mm-hmm,
on, right? But I'm not going to chase you. So I'm not saying that she should be chasing behind him and be doing all the driving or making it happen, right? But I
mm-hmm,
do feel when I say that they're both responsible, is that if he wasn't giving you at that time what
mm-hmm.
you want to make it happen, then you should have left the relationship.
Ooh,
Right? If he's not for 3 years, how are you going to come back 3 years later and hold him accountable for not seeing you for 3 years? What you
right.
doing here? That's just me. I mean,
Okay, okay, okay. We'll take that. We'll take that. I'm actually, yeah. I want to see what comes from that. I
I'm
want to know.
curious too, because if that come back around, I'm gonna be like, oh, Ursula called it.
Let's. Yeah, I cannot wait. Okay, so anything else with them? Let me look on my notes.
No, no. Mm-mm.
Okay, so let me just share something real quick. And well, while I do that, can you go into did you see can we fast forward to the very end when they were showing the preview for next week where Millie was crying cuz she wanted to share some trauma that she had or how
No,
it was being
I did not catch that.
You
I
did
don't know.
it?
No, and I actually watched it twice. I watched it the night before, and I watched it again today before we met to just give myself a refresher because I had a lot going on over the weekend.
Yeah.
But I did not catch what was coming on season 4, episode 4.
Yes, she was crying. I don't remember who she was talking to, but she was crying and she was not one of those she she was
Like
crying.
boo-hooing.
Yeah,
Okay.
and she's like, I don't know how he's going to respond either if she shares the trauma that she had. So there is
That's why I said there's something.
yep.
And I'm not saying I know there's something. I'm not saying what that something is, but there's something. There's something.
Mhm.
I know there's something because to me, it's too much conflicting messages. You know what I mean? And you saying
Exactly.
you want connection, but you're not really focused on the connection. You're focused on you and guarding and protecting you. So that to me indicates there's something there.
Mhm.
So
Ex-
maybe we'll find out in episode 4.
right. Okay, let me post this picture. I'm trying to post something else, but let me go back to I'm gonna okay. Let's move on to Diamond and older Aaron. Before we get into what I want to talk about, what were your thoughts when she was talking to her daughter, telling her about her man? Like, girl, you know, he cried when he just the way she was talking to her daughter, sharing, I should say.
I will say, I don't necessarily see anything wrong with the dynamic. Me personally, I have a daughter that's almost 40. People don't know that my daughter is almost 40.
Oh,
And
that's right. Yes.
yeah, and we do talk. And when I look at that scene and when I'm thinking about what you're asking me, I almost envision me and my daughter, right? And me and
Okay.
my daughter are really tight and we talk.
Mhm.
So I don't necessarily, if you're asking in terms of how they were communicating about it, I don't necessarily see anything wrong with it. I think that her daughter, they seem very friendly. They seem like they have
Yeah.
a friendship, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I can say for me, I had my daughter when I was really young, right? So it was my
Mm-hmm.
first time parenting, you know what I mean? And I always say, me and my daughter grew up together
Mm-hmm.
because I was young when I had her, right? So, but I think it's also a testament to how I parented her because I actually parented her. I wasn't her friend when she was 12, right?
Okay.
You know what I mean? But the relationship that we have now speaks to the fact that I was able to parent her and we transition into this place where we
Mm-hmm.
do talk openly and freely, you know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean, about relationship stuff and things like that. So the dynamic of them, I don't necessarily see anything wrong with it. Did you see anything wrong? Or did you have an opinion on it?
Um, I did. Not a strong one, but I don't have a child, so I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. Well, what I
Mhm.
did catch up on, it just, you know, she probably had her daughter young too, where they do have that dynamic where
That's
they
what I
can have
got
that.
from it. But
Because,
that might have just been me projecting because I thought about me and my daughter. Yeah.
well, because Diamond, she looks young, her daughter looks young, or they both are
Older.
young. I
Mhm.
mean, wait, she looks like she could have had her daughter young as well. So
Mhm.
I can see that, like you said, when you grow up together, you really do grow. You
Together.
literally are
Yeah.
growing up
Mhm.
together. Did you catch? And I'm glad what I did catch is when, I don't know if her daughter was joking, but when Diamond was saying, well, when he saw me, he was crying. And the daughter said, get rid of him. But I don't know if she was joking or not, but I like how Diamond said, well, he's just being emotional.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah. And
that.
well, she had to kind of remind her she was joking a lot and she was like big crybaby or something, like taking little
Yeah.
jabs. But I think that did have to say, well, you have to think about the fact that we have been communicating for like, together for 5 years, this, that, and the other. But something just clicked for me. We also have to remember that because they seem to be friendly and close and talk about a lot of things, she probably talked to her about the time that he proposed to that other lady too. So that jab might have
Oh,
been intentional.
yeah.
I don't know. I didn't see it that way at the time watching it, but I did hear her say them little things. But to me, because I don't know her daughter, and that's my first time seeing their dynamic, I can't say for sure if it was actually a real jab or if it was a joke.
Yeah, I couldn't catch it either.
Yeah, yeah.
I could not catch
I
it.
didn't read. I'll say I didn't read too far into it because it's too early, and I'm a person that looks for patterns. Yeah.
Okay. So let me put, can you describe the picture I'm going to put up, like in detail, okay?
Okay, first of all, you ain't right for this. Okay, why I got to be the one and I don't even know all the
Ugh,
words, YouTube words.
ugh. I can use it. Ugh.
That is it. Not ugh, ew, yuck. Um, okay. Okay. So was you
Ugh.
looking for a descriptive or was you looking for explaining to people on the audio podcast what's happening? Because
Explaining to the people on the audio podcast. We can't leave
you
them
want
out.
me to do it and I don't know the YouTube words. Okay. Okay, so we have a picture here, right? Of what's his is he Aaron, right?
Aaron.
Okay, we got a picture here of Aaron H and Diamond, and this is their first time going to the boom boom room together. And he has it's a picture of a full shot of him from the side, and he has her foot in his hand, and it looks like probably 2 to 3 of her middle toes are all the way in his mouth. Okay. Okay. All right. So that I'm gonna leave that right there for now. Okay. Was that good enough description?
That was great.
Okay.
Audio listeners, you let me know. Was that a good enough description if you could see it? Okay, I'm just gonna say it. And I'm not a prude by any means, but it's just like he doesn't do it for me whatsoever. For him to like well, you know what? He's being sexy for his woman. So as long as it's good enough for them, it is. If I never ever could see that in my life again, I would be okay. I don't, not with him, them, I should say. No.
Absolutely, 100% on board with that comment. 100% on board on comment. And I thought about it, right? And I'm just gonna say, I'm a single woman, so I can say what I want to say. I've had my toes sucked before. Not my
Mhm.
cup of tea. It's just not my
Mm,
thing. I'm not gonna
yeah.
go, here's my foot, please suck it so I can,
Right.
get to where I need to get to. That just really, the times that it has happened more so for the other person having a foot fetish, right? Whatever, right?
Mhm.
So I'm not necessarily against toe sucking, right? If that's what turns him on, right? If because
Mhm.
he said he has a foot fetish, right?
Mhm.
The thing to me that kind of did it for me, and maybe I'm too just rational, looking at it in a rational way, but first of all, it wasn't sexy at all.
No, that's my thing. It
It was
was
not
not.
the way it happened. It was like cutscene, foot, mouth, suck. I was just like, no, right? There was no build up, no nothing, right? And I don't know if maybe they cut the build up off, but you know what? In my mind, as I'm thinking about it, right? I'm thinking about they probably cut the build up because the build up was worse than the scene itself. Because I just can't see how we got there, right? And maybe, right? Even if you look at the clip where they were getting prepared to go to the boom boom room, she's like, "Come on!" He's like, "All right, I'm
You
coming."
heard that?
There was nothing sexy about that. It wasn't like, "Ooh, my man, ooh, babe, you coming? Come on!" It was none of that, and it was just like, "I'm coming," and then it was just like foot to mouth. They were talking a
Ugh.
little bit, and then foot to mouth. It just was like not sexy. Did you catch though that he said, "I told her that I told her that I was going to suck her feet." And I'm
Yeah.
assuming that they had that conversation maybe before, he probably was letting her know that was their sexy talk, right? When they were online or whatever, but it was almost like I said I was going to do it. Here I am doing it.
Ugh.
There was nothing sexy or sexual about it to me. But maybe that's just, I don't know. I was not in it. It was not good for me.
No, it was not. I did not enjoy it, and I don't think anyone she did, so
Did she? Did she really? I'm curious. I will predict. I'm gonna be like you. I'm gonna pull a Ursula. I'm going to predict. I can't say how many episodes from now, but I'm going to predict that it may come back around, with your non-toe sucking self. You know what I mean? Like something like that.
Oh,
Because I don't know how that could have been a turn on for her in the moment. It just all the lights was on and it just was like, here, put your foot in my mouth. Okay, here we go.
do you
Right? I don't know.
do you think he was almost performing because he knew he was being filmed?
I think that I said I was gonna do it. Here I am doing it. I'm a man of my word.
Mm,
Yeah, it wasn't because this is what I'm feeling and this is in the moment and I feel like this is what my girl need to get. I didn't feel any or see any of that. But
nah.
again, right, I don't see any of that really going to them, but I wanna talk about something. Can we jump to another scene with them?
Yeah. I hope it's the one go ahead.
So, did you catch the hot tub scene when them 2 were in the hot tub?
Keep talking, remind me.
Okay, so you know how I was saying that often I feel like they deflect when you see the 2 of them together, it's often them trying to be somebody's counselors, right? Ain't y'all here
Mhm.
for the same reason? But I will say, didn't I call it in episode 1 where I said that everybody put him on this pedestal of being the guy that has
You
all the answers,
did.
and I said he's going to feel like he's going to have to be in that position, and if you look at majority of the scenes that he's in, right? He's counseling somebody, he's taking people to the side, he's taking charge, right? And I said, I have a
Mhm.
feeling, even if he's not the dude, he's going to feel the pressure to be the dude.
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's what I see unfolding, right? But I was thinking right before they show this scene of them two, I was like, I'm seeing them in these positions where they're constantly worried about other people's relationships or what's going on with other
Mm-hmm.
people and don't necessarily see the fire with them. So there was a scene right after that, and it's like, oh, here they go. Okay, so they're in the hot tub together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she says, "You love me? You love me?" And his response, oh, what was it? You love me? Um, she asked him how much you love me. That was how she worded it. You didn't see that
I didn't
scene?
catch that one.
That
Ah,
was that for me did something for me. Um,
really?
yeah, that did something for me because gimme, I need, right? Um,
Mm.
right. It was kind of like I feel like from what they showed, and there might have been a lot of stuff. I told you this thing is chopped and screwed. I'm not, I'll say that we might not see everything.
Mhm.
But from what they chose to show, right? And not necessarily show their dynamic
Right.
together, right? And then for her to have to ask, how much do you love me? First of all, you've been dealing with this dude how many 5 years? They did break up a little bit, right? Get back together. We know that, right? But you have to question, right? This guy about
Mm.
how much I need reassurance. I need you to affirm how much you love me, right?
Mhm.
Why was she not comfortable to wait for him to say how much he loved her? Why did she need that, right? Like, she
Mm.
needed that. To me, when you said the word earlier, you used the word desperation. To me, I feel
Mhm.
that she has a level of desperation,
I
right? To
agree.
some
Yep.
degree. Or I'll say over these past couple of episodes, I've been seeing a little bit more of desperation with her. She says to him, "How much you love me?" And you don't remember seeing the scene. His response was, "Enough to marry you."
Oh, what?
It felt
Oh,
disingenuous to me, his response, right? And it felt like kind of what you were saying earlier about the toe sucking, that do we think that he was performing?
he
It
is
felt
performative.
disingenuous. It felt disingenuous to me because it felt like the thing to say after a person says, how much do you love? They're questioning, how much do you love me? So I got to go all the way to the mountaintop, right? To say,
Mhm.
oh, enough to marry you. When he said it, when the words came out of his mouth, I did not feel the authenticity to me. It
Yes.
felt very disingenuous, right?
Yep.
But I also think that the by her asking the question opposed to allowing it to happen naturally and allowing him to say and show and prove how much he loved her, she asked the question. I feel like he was under a level of pressure to respond, and he took it all the way to the mountaintop. That's just how I saw it. And I was like,
Yes. I love how you worded it. I would not have worded it that way, but it was the way you explained it. I agree. Because
mhm.
well, I'm gonna answer, but ooh, I'm gonna answer so good. I'm gonna put all the bells and whistles and the
Oh,
sparklies and the
yes.
glitter,
Yes,
not just
because if
let
you're questioning, I have to make sure I let you know I'm on the mountaintop, baby. I'm on the mountaintop. I'm ready, right? To take this leap with you. And I just felt like when you push, opposed to letting it happen naturally and letting him prove his love, right? Because that's just words. It's
Mhm.
just words, right? Actions is really where it's at. Your words, or your, I won't say that, well, your words got to line up with your actions, right? And I feel like there was a level of desperation there. He felt the pressure and he responded.
Yep, I agree. I cannot wait for more episodes because I want to
Mhm.
know who's going to be the person to step up and okay, well, what's going on with what else is going on with you two as a couple, as opposed to sitting down with everyone
What
like Dr.
if you
Phil.
had to pick a couple that would catch it and say it, who do you think it would be, or a person out of a couple?
If Sienna is in her lashing out hijack stage, I think she would do it as a lash out, not really like, hey, let's communicate and talk about it. I think they would have caught a stray bullet from her for real.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that Sienna will snap on anybody at any time if she's in
true.
that mode.
Yeah,
But I don't know if I would think that it would be Sienna.
I don't think
I
it'll be
think
fun.
that it would
Oh,
be
Millie,
Chris.
dude. Oh, I didn't even think about the men.
Chris
Chris.
has a lot to say about people. He had a lot to say
What?
about uh what's her name? The ones about Sienna.
Oh, Chris. Yeah,
Yeah.
Chris would see. I was just thinking about the women.
He
Chris,
was saying you're beating them down, you're punching them down, like give him a chance, right? But I think that he might be the first one because Chris
yep,
is vocal. He's very vocal,
he
and he
would.
also is he pays attention, right? So I
Mhm.
think that he might catch y'all going around and around here doing all of this, right?
Yep.
Um, Couples counseling, right? Somebody gonna hand them they behind on a platter at some point.
And I
Yeah.
want it to be Chris because he's not going to back down.
He's not got no holds barred with
No,
that
he
dude.
isn't. And he doesn't have to go to the gutter like Sienna. He will just,
Mhm.
like you said, he is
Yeah,
very
yeah.
vocal.
I seen him say some things, and even when he talks to her, even when he's dismissive of her, he's not rude. It may come off as rude because he's not acknowledging, right, her or
He's
affirming her,
clear.
but he's very clear and he's not aggressive. And he's just like, hey, listen, this is who I am. I told you this before we got here. This is what you're going to get,
Yep.
right? You might have a little bit of oomph on it, but he's not like aggressive in your
Mm-mm.
face, fiery. So I do think that he's going to probably, it might be him. It might
Yep.
be him that might call them to the mat on that. Yeah.
I can't wait. I want it to happen.
If it continues to progress this way, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Cause I'm like that sex scene that S scene that they did. I don't know if that's a word, but just in case, right?
Yeah.
That scene that they did, they could have chopped that and left that on the floor.
Right. I would
That
have
was
rather
not.
watched Millie and Greg. Out of those two, no. I'm gonna play this scene, this clip. Okay,
Mhm.
we'll do it. Or were there anything else you wanted to add on to?
No, I'm just kind of I'm curious as to where that's gonna go or when it's gonna come out, right? Because I think there's a statement where they say you protest too much. I think they protest too much. I think they're pretending and they're saying that they're playing it like they got it all together. So I'm just curious as it goes on.
I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna, I'm gonna say it. Can you put your hand up?
Okay, I'm ready for it.
They both are coming off like a stereotypical church folk who are very judgmental, have something to say, and speaking from a platform up here down to other people when they are all in the same boat. They all were casted for the same show. They are not producers, they are not therapists, they're not coaches. They are part of the
Mhm.
cast, but they are separating themselves from the pack. No, 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 no,
Come
no.
on back in,
Come back
draw
here.
back in. Yeah.
Come back.
But the people put him on the platter. And I'm sorry,
They
because
did.
now that you say that, now see, I have a vision in my head, right? Because I have the pastor and the first lady image in my head with them two.
And that's what I'm saying. That's exactly
They
what
done
I'm
made
talking
him the
about.
pastor, and she just immediately stepped into the first lady role.
Yeah. I'm just saying that's how
No
they
offense to any pastors and first ladies out there. I'm just saying.
I said it. I'm just saying that's how they come off. So
Mhm, mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And you're right. They
I
put him
agree.
on a pedestal, them on a pedestal, but they are standing up there holding their medal like, okay, well, it's
Yeah.
here. Y'all put me here. We're gonna
But
go
they
for it.
haven't even ran the race yet. They gave them the medal before they ran the race. You know what I mean? So I'm just kind of like, there's no preliminary, like nothing you got to do. Just hand them the medal.
Yeah.
And
Mm-mm.
yeah,
No.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let me play this. Let's see. this is a segue into the last couple we just talked about into the next couple.
Okay.
Let's see.
I respected him because he didn't wait 9 months. He didn't wait.
So she told me you had a baby on her.
It was literally just a roommate situation, and just bullshit ended up happening, then the baby ended up coming.
Okay.
I respected him because he didn't wait 9 months. He didn't wait till the baby was born and tell me. He told me exactly when it happened.
I mean, she was definitely upset about it, which I understood. I was a bit mad about it too.
Right. Oh, definitely.
It's been 3 years now. So
I'm like, I'm over it.
Right.
Yeah, I got over
You got your closure. I'm glad, because that's a hurtful thing.
Okay, well, I don't know why it stopped. I guess that was the end of it.
Mhm.
So we got enough anyway. Thoughts?
You know, that particular scene, I did think about the fact that she brought it up, but it didn't feel, and because it wasn't the whole scene, and she didn't just jump in with that. They were talking about marriage, they were talking about some things, and it kind of segued into that conversation.
Mhm.
So it didn't feel like, oh, mind your business, why are you doing that, right? Because they were having conversations and they were talking about moving forward, right? I think that to some degree, that it could be taken offensive because she maybe spoke to you about something in confidence, right? And then you brought it to the mat as if that was your place to bring up. And again, that's that, right? That medal that they holding up, right? So, but because they were having a conversation and it was flowing, and then she kind of asked him, I didn't necessarily see it as offensive. I did see it as maybe a kind of a little bit of a betrayal to girl talk, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, I just kind of saw it like her being her, not really holding up her medal. We the champions, and we got to get this straight and on national TV, because y'all talking about marriage, and y'all, before y'all move forward, I have to address this with you, kind of thing.
Okay.
So
Yep. I like that. That's how I took it. Um, I was really looking at it more from the perspective. I was looking at as them doing what they do, but
tell me, in that particular position, could you see the first lady saying that? If you see the first lady, right, at church, you sitting with your pastor and his wife, and y'all having premarital counseling with the pastor and his wife, can't you see the first lady saying, now I know y'all talking about getting married, right? But he told me you had a baby on him. Where are we with that? Tell me she didn't look like the first lady.
like, look, what's TD Jakes' wife name? They're sitting up there like the first couple, like them. Like, no, ma'am, you were just an elevated Krishan and Blueface. No, Krishan and Blueface is the other couple. Let me back up.
Oh, girl, that's a whole nother show. I don't really know them, but I've heard little things and saw
Yeah,
little clips on that,
I've
and
seen
I don't even
clips.
want to touch that with 10-foot pole unless
No,
they got some insurance that I cover.
right, exactly. So yeah, so that's why I said this is a good segue from the first couple to Shay and Josh.
Before we go into Shay and Josh, because they're our last couple, can I ask you a quick question? Because I want to back up for a second, because I had something jotted down here that I wanted to talk about. Now, remember when Millie and Greg were in the hot tub and they were talking, she was sitting with the ladies and she was talking about the kids and how she needed to make sure that he only,
Yes,
what did you think about the goosebump comment?
that she didn't feel it.
Yeah, they were like, oh, the goosebumps. And what do you think about when women, this whole concept of the goosebump conversation?
I don't think if you do not have goosebumps, I don't think that that's a precursor to, oh, we could never get along. Sometimes it takes time for the engine to get warm. Um, I think she may have had it, but she seems like she is fighting against her own feelings just because she's back and forth with it. And
Yeah,
maybe
and
that
I don't even think that she's fighting against her feelings. I think she's all the way in her feelings, but it ain't no those feelings don't necessarily work for him. That's what I think. I think she has an ideal, right? But an ideal is not feelings. An ideal is a thought, a dream, a fantasy, or a way of seeing something, but that's not a feeling. Girl, that was one for me that I think was a trigger for me
really
when they were
why?
having that conversation about goosebumps, right?
Mhm.
Because I feel, right, that goosebumps from what they were talking about it as is based on how you perceive the situation. And if
Mm.
you're holding back, right, and you got guards up, how is the goosebump supposed to get through, right, on his end? If he's now think about it, he's holding her, right? She's laying. They have a scene where she's facing forward and she's in front of him, and he's
Mhm.
got his arms around her, and they're relaxed and this and that. And then the moment that he goes in for a kiss, right now they're talking about the kiss part. She's saying she doesn't feel goosebumps, right?
Mhm.
So my thing is, did he do something that we're not seeing behind the scenes? Because the way it looks to me is like he was holding you, you were comfortable, he was comfortable, your head is leaning back on him. There was no level of discomfort shown until he went in, right, for the
Mhm.
kiss, right? So
Mhm.
when people are talking about goosebumps, I guess it kind of does something to me because it's like, if you ain't really feeling this dude, that's like expecting goosebumps to come when you ain't really feeling somebody. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? It's based on the way you perceive and the way you're feeling, right? Not based as much on what they're doing,
Okay.
right? So I kind of feel like her perception, the goosebumps wasn't coming from where her brain was at. You get what I'm saying? Where her thoughts were, where her defenses were. How could the goosebumps come when you were automatically like, soon as he tried to kiss you, like,
Right.
right?
Matrix
So you
on
see
him.
the body language, you doing all of this, right? Are you laying the foundation, right, for him to do what he needs to do for the goosebumps to get through, right? You
Mm.
see, you get what I'm saying?
I
If your
do.
body language is like this, how are you supposed to be getting goosebumps? And then you're gonna go and say, I ain't feel no goosebumps. You was already like this. How
Yeah, she put that wall up, so it wasn't gonna come
that's why
through.
when women say, oh, I didn't get butterflies. First of all, them butterflies is gonna get a lot of people because this is what I thought about. This is why I really wanted to go back to it, right?
Keep talking. I'm gonna
How
go
many
behind the
times?
scenes. Keep talking. I'm gonna go behind the scenes for a minute. I need to close something right here. But I'm listening.
Okay. So I'm just curious because I'm trying to figure out how many times have we been dealing with a dude, right? Or in a relationship or building a relationship and we got goosebumps and he find out later he was a liar, he was manipulative, he wasn't being honest, the relationship didn't work for whatever reason. How many times have we been in a situation, right, where we have had those goosebumps and it still didn't work? And that's my thing. You can't base it on something so trivial, right? I think that's trivial. All these women wanting to have the butterflies and have the goosebumps. Girl, when I meet him, I'll know my husband because the goosebumps will be there. You know what I mean? I just really feel like we got to let that one go, or we have to think a little bit more
Mhm.
about it. You know what I mean? I don't know if you could
Mhm.
hear me when you took your break.
I
You know
could.
what
I
I mean?
heard everything you said.
Yeah. So it's just kind of like that's the thing I think we as women need to really kind of break down or process a little bit more. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because I done had plenty of goosebumps and been like, where he at? He ain't here. It did not work.
He said, "Where he at?"
Where he at? You know?
Girl.
So yeah, I just was curious about that whole goosebump thing. I know I
Yeah.
got strong opinions, y'all. I'm sorry, but I don't get to say my opinions a lot. I have to keep all my opinions in check because I'm a very professional person and I don't bring this to my platform.
No,
So
you
when I get
don't.
an opportunity to say my opinions, I do have some, and I feel at least feel strongly about them.
And we appreciate it. I mean, it's always good to learn a different, have a different perspective instead of being
Yeah,
so
yeah.
rigid. So no, we like it. We love it. We love
All
it.
right,
Love
all
it.
right,
Love
all right. Thank you.
it. And they weren't the last couple. Almost. We getting there. We getting there.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, we'll
Okay.
talk about this next couple quicker, and then
Okay.
so. Well, was there anything else you wanted to add? I don't want to rush you.
No. I had just seen on the note that I had jotted that down, and I really wanted your opinion on that, but no,
Mhm.
I'm all set with them.
Okay. So to Josh and Shay,
Mhm.
the way he blew over on having a child while they were dating, and that said a lot. He just brushed over it. It was a roommate situation. Okay, so you're living with a woman. Okay. Go ahead.
I don't want to cut you off. But I'm just over here like, oh, no, I didn't see it that way.
I did. He downplayed it. Oh, well, so roommate, then some bullshit happened, and then the baby came. Sir, what's going on? And then for Shay, like I said, I think she's just a fixer and a rescuer. Like, oh yeah, I got over it. I let it go. But I don't think she has boundaries and the reason why I'm saying that for that, but then to fast forward to the last couple we're going to talk about and how she was going so hard for how Sienna was acting.
I did
And
catch
so,
that.
yeah, and making an excuse for her. It's like, no, well, Shay, you don't have any boundaries. And she just, even physically, she's always cleaning something. She's just like always a rescuer.
But you are talking a lot more about her, right? Her character, her responses. And I guess I'm looking at it more from Josh and what he's been presenting throughout the whole show.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I don't see it that way, right? Because if you
Mm-hmm.
notice, right, Josh throughout the show is pretty much a man of very few words. If you notice throughout the show, he's pretty much, he's not like, you'll notice that Chris is more talkative and he's all up in every scene and talking to everybody, having opinions on everything, right? I don't necessarily, and it might just be the way the episodes are cut, right? But I see Josh as he's a man of very few words. I also think about in the situation where I would be. I'm not Shay and I don't respond like Shay, but I also feel like from the dynamic, the way we set up, right? And we're thinking about them being the couple. Remember, they're the holding the the medal. They got the medal of the best couple, and we the couples therapists, we everything to y'all, right? And in that moment, first of all, they're talking about a happy moment. They're talking about being married. They're talking about them being together. And then whack, she just hits him in the face with, she told me you had a baby on her. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think that as he presented of who he was, right? He presented as his natural self. He just kind of said, yeah, this is what happened, yada, yada. I think that he wasn't giving her details. I think if LaRonda sat down with him and had said, hey, listen, we want to address this, I think maybe his response might have been a little bit different. That's just my opinion. And I'm
Okay.
not saying he's going to get all chatty Cathy about it, right?
Right.
But I'm thinking the dynamic that we see, right, with Diamond and her man and how they going through counseling everybody and they got their opinions on everybody's stuff. He gave her what he wanted her to have. This is what happened. This is the basics. Boom. And the conversation was done and over with. That's the way I saw it.
Okay.
Right. I didn't see it necessarily as he was hiding anything. And I also think about the fact that if you caught it at the tail end, right? You said that Shay kind of that rescuer makes excuses for him, but she said, I got over it. And they said that was 3 years ago. You have to remember they've been dealing for 12 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he had a baby on her 3 years ago. The baby is 3 years old. That they may have actually, because they're the only couple to me that seem like they really talked, right? So it is true that they have moved on from that, and they didn't want to
Could be.
drag out all the details. That's what I got from it. Was that happened? We talked. This is what it was. It happened. We talked about it. This is where we are. That's what I got. That's just me.
Yeah. He's like, that's just me. So I'm very curious. You know what? And I may have said this the last time we were on. Did you know Dr. Romney is going to be on this show?
Yeah.
I
I can't wait.
Ooh.
I can't wait. Yeah.
She is gonna peel back some layers, and I
Yeah.
cannot wait for her to come on because LeBron.
She
Well,
should have been
LeBron.
at the door when they was pulling up and getting out the car to come into the house to meet these folks.
Dr. Romney's gonna get them all the way together.
Yeah. Yeah. I love
Ooh,
her style.
I do
I like
too.
therapists that approach therapy like me. Just real, down to earth, gonna tell you the truth, right? Because you really want to help people. So it doesn't help them by tiptoeing around stuff. You know what I mean? Not saying be down
Right.
their throat, right? But you got to tell people the truth. And
Yeah,
she tells the truth. And I
she
like
sure
that.
she does, and she's not rah rah in your face with it. She's just
No,
real and
no.
raw. So,
Yeah.
and she's gonna see through all of that. Any BS, she is gonna see it. So I cannot wait for her to come on.
Yeah.
Whenever
I'm
she comes
excited
on,
about that
we
too.
definitely have to come on, even if it's
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, we could skip a week, but get that week with her on, like while it's fresh, because she's
Yeah.
gonna
Oh,
light it
yeah.
on fire.
Yeah. I think
So
so too. But I will say that Josh and what's her name?
Shay.
Shay. Josh and Shay seem the most genuine couple to me as I'm watching over time progress. And because there's something very natural about them. They came in here, first of all, they went straight to the boom boom room. They wasn't playing no games, honey. Okay. After 12 years, they was like, listen, we ain't here to play no games. We ain't even trying to act like we gonna wait. And they went right to, and if you notice and you watch them, Shay, but them two as a dynamic, if you watch them, you'll see that they are about they Shay and Josh business.
Yeah.
Anytime you see them in a scene together, right? I don't know if you caught this when Chris, not Chris, when Sienna in the flower episode where she was going off and she came out. Why you had to do that? They down there having a conversation. Maybe she felt like because he was talking. That's another thing. Are we gonna talk about that scene with the when
Yes.
she came out with the okay, so I'm not gonna go into it
Definitely.
right now, right?
Yes.
But they are very natural. When you see Shay and Josh in scenes together,
Yes.
he's always got his hand on her. He's rubbing her. They have that intimacy level of intimacy and connection that seems very natural. It's not put on. It's not extra heavy, right? And
Mm-hmm.
also in the scene that I was talking about where they were discussing the flower incident, when Shay first walked into the room, I don't know if you caught it, right? She went in and she sat down and he started asking her, Brandon, about it's Brandon that's with
Mm-hmm.
Sienna, right? He started asking her, talking to her to get her opinion. Who did you see fly right into the room? Like you talking to my lady.
Yeah.
Immediately, as soon as she sat down, he was like, boom, and he was right there. There's something about them that
They like each other.
it
Yeah.
seems genuine. I would be very surprised to find out that this is all an act and not genuine because their level of intimacy and the way that they constantly have to have their hands on each other, right? Just not sexual. Just he's always got his arms around her. He's always kind of
Mm-hmm.
caressing her shoulder, right? When you see her, he's not far behind. There's something about that just seems very genuine that they really want to be in each other's company
Yeah.
and
Out of
energy.
all the couples, they are the
Out of
most
all the
connected.
couples, it seems the most natural. Yeah. But they
Yeah.
do have 12 years too.
They do. All right. Well, let's talk about our last couple,
Okay. Who haven't we talked about?
Sierra and Brandon.
Yeah. I mean, we talked a little bit about them, but let's get into them as a couple.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm
So
ready. I'm ready.
I have a picture. This picture is exactly how Sienna must feel inside. Look at the distress on her face. And I'm not even being funny on this for real. I actually, you know what? I actually feel bad for her. Someone to have that much anger inside of them, that's a
Mhm.
lot. And when it's calm, how she creates.
The narratives, the scripts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
So
was tough for me as a therapist to watch.
really, why?
Um, because she went to a place in her mind that I feel she often does. She jumps to this
Mm-hmm.
place. And regardless, I feel like the information that is coming in
Mm-hmm.
doesn't need to feed her, fuel her to get her to the places that she's
Yes.
got fuel stored, right?
Ooh.
She's got fuel stored, and that's where you're talking about that anger, that aggression, that the things that he does, I don't feel constitute her to be or go to the places that she goes. And in that particular scene, her just beating at him and him trying to, like, he's trying to, first of all, you got to remember, he's trying to get to know you more, right? Because he's learning this new you, this dynamic that you calling them bitches on, you're doing all this
Mm-hmm.
stuff. So when you ask him a question, what was you talking to her about? And the way that she said it, it wasn't like, it was kind of, I need to know what you're talking about, what you was talking to her about.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that he probably needed a moment to process, like, okay, how do I do this without getting called 17 bitches in the next 2 minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that he was in his head, but she wasn't allowing him to get there, and she kept just pounding him and pounding. I need to say, you could have been talking about me and talking shit about, and I just was like, whoa, like that is coming from something.
Yes. I think it's bigger and beyond him. It's
That is
just
coming. Something that did come to play that I did have to think about, right? And she's a New Yorker. She's a New Yorker, right? So I mean, and I don't mean that to mean anything negative, right, about New Yorkers, but we know that New Yorkers are vocal, right? They're in your face. That's kind of, us there, we got that northerner thing anyway, right? Where down south is a little bit more laid back, southern charm, right? So there's something about the dynamic of being the up north versus the south, but also he's from the south and she's from, I mean, if you think about it, right, she's New England, she's almost to the tip top of the north, and he's the south, Florida, he's all the way at the other end, right? So I think that there's a dynamic there, right, in terms of geologically where they're from and how they communicate, right?
but
New
Millie's
Yorkers
from
are,
New York too.
huh?
Millie, I think she's from New York too,
She's
right?
from New Jersey.
Same thing
Yeah, but
ish.
she said she gets it, right? But if you notice, her edge is a little bit different than how she presents, right? But now think about it, right? New Yorkers, am I saying something that you haven't heard before? Am I like just all wrong about how people kind of envision New Yorkers? They tend to be kind of like,
Yeah, but she's excessive.
no,
Like,
I'm not talking about her. I'm saying in
oh,
terms of New Yorkers, how I'm explaining New Yorkers.
okay. Uh-huh.
Are you kind of with me on that, where you
Yeah.
feel like they say New Yorkers have a tendency to be kind of like fast talking and
Yeah,
loud
I've
and
heard
kind of
that
fluent?
before.
So I thought about that for a second, for a quick second, and then I went where you are, right? Because I take everything into this, when I'm thinking about it. I'm like, okay, well, she is from New York, and we know New Yorkers have a tendency, right? But that does not excuse that. That does not explain that away,
It
right?
doesn't.
That does not explain that away. So that's why I mean, like, just in general, I thought about it for a second, like, oh, well, she's from New York. New Yorkers have a tendency to be a little bit more, in your face up front, right? But she was so aggressive, right? It was almost, in my opinion, I see her as verbally abusive.
Girl, may I read my notes?
Yes.
That's exactly what I put on here. I put what's going on, what's going on for her to be in constant fight mode and letting her intrusive thoughts hijack her emotions, that she's verbally, physically, as we saw, because it's with the
Yes.
flowers, and emotionally abusive, but the house will call it rough around the edges. And to me, that's just normalizing the dysfunction.
Absolutely.
And back to Shay saying that Brandon doesn't have any, wait, Brandon holds grudges and doesn't know how to get over things on how Sienna is acting. You get it? So it's like they're giving them excuses for her
Yes,
behavior.
I
But me,
absolutely see what you're saying. Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
And that
Yeah,
she,
that there, no, there's that. Her behavior has been unacceptable. And in every instance of where, and what's interesting is when they played the game, we didn't talk about that. When they played the group game at the
just about
table,
to mention that.
and they were the prime couple for everything, which I didn't think is fair, because one of those areas I thought that it should have been Joanna and uh uh
Young Aaron.
Aaron J.
They did get one vote, but they
Yeah,
should
but
have
they should
been
have
in
got
it
more.
as
They, in
well.
terms of people that were that didn't seem correctly matched or something, they said those two, and I was like, no, those two, because they show scenes, right, where Sienna and Brandon were laying on the couch, right, and they
Mhm.
were looking at the art. Did you see that scene where
Yes.
he said he likes the time he had his hands on her back, he was massaging her, right? So there are times where they have, and I don't know if you caught it when they were laying on the couch together and she put her hand out.
Yes, I did. I was
Right.
shocked because she's
I wouldn't have
hot or
assumed that.
cold.
If they didn't put that on there, I wouldn't have assumed that. I would have assumed that he's the one who was consistently reaching out for the affection. She put her hand out, right? For him. And
Mhm.
he put his hand in her hand as they laid there talking, right? And that's why I said I don't necessarily kind of like write most of these couples off. There, I feel like if they got the right therapy or whatever that they need, all of them have the ability, right, to move forward and to have something. But I was very, very shocked. I was very shocked that she was the one who extended her hand first. But she is very hot and cold, like you
I was
said. She flips and she flops, just like he said, right?
mhm.
And yeah, that back and forth. In 1 minute, you're putting the hand out and you're the one seeking the affection and desiring the affection. And the next minute, you calling them all kind of bees and,
And she's using
you know,
that same
and
hand
badgering. Same hand that's
to
just,
throw the flowers. It's too that's mentally the gymnastics of it all is too much. So she has been consistent with her hot and cold. So I
Mhm.
would not I was surprised when
But
she
she's
put her hand.
aware. I still say she's aware because she's aware. She is absolutely aware. If you notice when they sat down with Diamond and Aaron, right?
Mhm.
They sat down in the backyard and they had the conversation with them, right? She did talk about, and she was very aware, and she said that it hurt her feelings because he was laughing, right? He was laughing at her, and that was her response. And I think I said it in the first one about humiliation, or like how she responds to things. She doesn't necessarily handle it with grace, right? But what's
No.
the most interesting is when they were playing the game, and and Diamond said to her, oh, you took that, you took that criticism. She said, oh, I am an adult, I can take constructive criticism, I can what did she say, I know how
Regulate
to.
my emotions. No, ma'am. No, you cannot. No, you
I was
cannot.
like, oh, really? Oh, okay.
But
All
see,
right.
I think that's
But
another.
she seems to me, in that moment she took it, but she to me seems like later it'll blow up into something, that just that criticism, and that's the fuel. That's the fuel that I was talking about that she always has
Mm,
stored.
that's good,
Mhm.
Viola. That's good. That's good. Yes, to
Yeah.
store it because
Like,
it
okay,
takes.
yep, just throw that wood on in there, keep that fire, yep, and then when it gets ablaze, it's gonna be like pew, 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 pew. Yeah,
Yeah, she will air the entire room out.
the
I
whole
also
room.
added that she throws tantrums,
Mhm,
that she's very childlike to me. She
mhm,
seems very, even as that hard and aggressive, but she's very childlike because just like a child, she name calls,
mhm,
she throws items,
mhm.
throws an item, then she stomps off upstairs. I mean, that's
Now, there, if she was done with it, to be honest, you come downstairs, they're having a conversation, and we already know that she's sensitive, right? She's
Mhm.
as aggressive as she is, and most aggressive people that have a tendency to pop off are the most sensitive. You can't say
Mm.
boo to them without them, having a fit, but they can say whatever to you,
Mhm.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah, they can say whatever to you. But if you notice, right, when she was, I think it was when they were in the room, and I mean when he was downstairs and he was talking to them on the couch and just getting their opinion, right? I think that he would talk to her if she wasn't so explosive.
Yes. He can't
Yeah,
compete
that's why
with
I'm like,
her.
yeah, and she doesn't make it easy because I feel like even he stays in there for as long as he can. She's the one that is the showstopper. She's the one that says
Yep.
this ain't going nowhere, and she puts the smack down and ends it. He will stay there till the end and take all the abuse, which is not good, right? But he stays there the whole time trying to communicate with her, trying to talk to her until she shuts it down or blows it up, right? He goes downstairs. Now he begins talking to people, right? Everybody hear you cussing, fussing in the house, right? He walks out and he's greeted by male other counterparts. Now, as a man, right? Think about walking out of that room when you got this chick cussing you out and saying all kind of
Ooh.
crazy crap to you, and you walk out,
Ooh.
and the first thing you do is bump, right? And this ain't his people that know him. This is dudes that he's attempting to establish his manhood with, right? In the house, going through this experience together, and he
Mhm.
walks out and he sees the dude, right? I can't remember who it was, but it was one of the
Chris.
guys. I was going to say, I thought it was Chris. And immediately, right, the conversation begins because this is a disruption to the energy in the house, right? So they're going to
Again.
again, so they're going to discuss it. So now they're all sitting there and he's having he's being him, his cool
Mhm.
collected self, and he's having the conversation. Shay jumps in comes Josh, and they're giving their opinions. She comes and storms down the stairs, right, just to throw the flowers. Can I tell you, if I was coming down them stairs, the scene would have been different
How would it have been
because I would have
different?
been wheeling my suitcase
Yep.
out the door,
Absolutely.
out the door, right?
Mhm.
Exactly. She flung them flowers, and everybody, she had to be seen. She had to be, like you said, almost like a tantrum, right? I need attention. They're downstairs. Now we know that she probably was triggered because hearing them talk about her, right? Hearing them talk about her,
Mhm.
and she's sensitive, right? She down there talking to other people. He ain't talking to me. He was just upstairs trying to talk to you. You didn't give him an opportunity.
Right. Like she's censoring him, his voice. Anyway, well, I can't talk. He's trying to talk to her, and he's telling her, I'm trying to talk to you. Well, hey, she's getting in his
No,
case.
just tell me what I want to know. You're not answering the question. She was going in.
She was. Then he can't talk to her. Then he can't talk to anybody downstairs. He can't talk to Millie. So what do you expect this brother to do? And you're right. However, you know what? He cannot. I believe he makes her nervous. I think she makes several people nervous. This picture right here is. I actually laughed when I saw this when Shay was in the room. Of course, cleaning up again. There she was folding clothes. Just girl. I was like, we.
Listen, don't be mad at her because she gonna be a good housewife, a homemaker.
She needs to come to my house. Like, girl,
She might. I don't even know what she do. Half of the people on here, I don't know what they
I
do.
don't either. But she was, as you see, having a conversation, and then when Brandon, what's his name? Brendan came in and they started going at it. You see, she got her stuff up real quick because she knew it was gonna pop. And
But she
Sierra,
just fed it. She just gave her all the logs. The scene before that, Shay was sitting there giving her all the
sure
logs to
did.
stoke the fire. And that's why her behind got up out of there because she knew
It was about to
like
pop. Uh, No,
it was
stay.
hot.
No, I'm gonna leave. I'll leave you. She
You
got
got
out of
15
that room.
minutes.
She got out of that room quick because she knew she was gonna pop off, and that's exactly what happened. So
Yeah,
like you said, I agree that she is very sensitive. She's hurt
extremely.
like beyond what.
Yeah, she is raw. She is raw. That is an example of someone who is extremely raw. You know what I mean? That's not, because I
Mhm.
thought about the New York thing, then I was like, that's not enough to equal that. Because I have my
No.
majority of my family from New York. You know what I mean? So I know
Mhm.
Northerners, I know New York, and that is not that. That's something else.
No,
Yeah.
that's her. She's rigid, judgment. Like it all comes where I don't know, but you know what? Dr. Romney will get to it.
Oh yeah.
She's
Oh
gonna
yeah.
get
I
to it.
can't wait. Yeah, but she's got some individual work to do.
Absolutely.
She's got some individual, and he does too. For somebody to
Yes.
sit there to allow someone to say those things to him. Now, I'm not telling you have to be explosive or explode, right? But to allow someone and have like zero, right, response, right? Other than just going to someone and saying, yeah, you know, she called me a bitch. Like, that's it. That's it. There's no real feeling, emotion, right? And all his response was, well, you know, you're not gonna get me, you're not gonna get my energy, right? That's the only thing he had to say. He didn't say anything about how it
Yeah.
made him feel to be called a bitch
Yeah.
by a female on national TV.
Yes. You see his friend with the funny hairline gave more of a response.
I wasn't gonna say nothing.
Like,
I'm
sir,
not gonna say nothing.
there is spray paint out
I
there.
don't, I'm not here to talk about people hairlines and
But
stuff. Hey, listen, everybody
I
got different hairlines,
I
but
deflect.
I saw what you're talking about.
But
Okay,
his
go.
friend had more of a reaction than he did about her calling him a name. But I feel that he holds a lot of that in because she makes people nervous with that
But I don't think
explosiveness.
it's just her. He said it. He prides himself on being a guy that doesn't allow people to get his energy.
But see, that's the thing. If you watch him, I went back. Now, this I did watch when she's getting amped up and that conversation, you know where it's going. He starts doing this. It's like he's self-soothing himself. He was always rubbing his head. I said, wait a minute. Well, let me see if he does that any other time. Nope. But when
But you
she
know, you got to think about the
Mhm.
ability, like the self-soothing, we know where that comes from, right? You got to think about what he grew up in for him to be able to tolerate without,
Girl.
right, in those moments spazzing. And maybe it's the TV, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. But she seems to have too much emotion and he seems to be too emotionally disconnected to me. They're on two opposite ends of the
Yes.
spectrum.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm like, no, nothing about, I was really upset or I really didn't appreciate that. You don't hear any of that. You just have him saying really what she did and saying really what he did. There's no conversation at all from him about emotion, right? About
Mhm.
how it made him feel. Right.
Mhm.
Even if he would have just said, I was really pissed, but I wasn't going to give that energy. You know what I'm saying? There was no indication or reference to
Mm.
any emotional response from him. He doesn't, if you look at him, doesn't often talk about anything emotional at all. So I'm thinking
You
about what in his household, right? How it had to be in order for him to be that emotionally detached and pride himself on being
Ooh.
a person that does not allow people to get that energy from him. And that's why I said there's probably some work on his end that needs to be done too.
That's true.
Because
Yeah.
people would look at him and go, it's all her. But no, there's some stuff over there too. Not saying that he needs to do for this relationship, but just his individual
For
work.
himself.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
That's how you're going to connect really emotion. If you don't respond, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to go on and on, but I just want to say this quickly.
Yeah.
If you don't respond, right, from the things that she said and have done to you, right, and even if you think about it, he did have a little twinge of a response when they were sitting at the table, and I can't remember which one of the males said it, but they said she wants a man with a spine, with a backbone.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
see a little twitch, a little bit. He was kind of like, okay, that was a jab, but it wasn't really like, right. You didn't see the emotion. You just kind of saw, he glazed over an emotion there. right? When
Mm.
they said that, if you look at him and the way that he responds, right? The way that he responds to these moments, how can we really expect him to be able to make a real genuine emotional connection with anybody?
That's true. That's so true. Yeah.
He's
So
gonna go through the motions, right? He knows how to be the gentleman. He knows how to, not pop off. He knows all these things. But how, if you are that disconnected from your emotions at times that are this intense,
mm,
how are you really capable of making a real, genuine emotional connection with anybody?
that's some good stuff. You're
Yeah,
right.
I don't
So
know.
would you consider him more, or I don't know, like in a freeze pattern or
No,
fawn
no, I
or he's
won't.
just
And explain to me
disconnected?
what you mean by freeze pattern. You mean fight, flight, or freeze?
Yes.
In those moments, you mean?
Yes.
No, I think that this is just that's him 24/7 before Sienna, after Sienna. That's what I think.
Yeah, because you know what? Because the only thing I've seen him be passionate about, or he's like this all the time. So whenever there's like that blip, is when he's cooking
Mhm.
because he
Mhm.
enjoys doing that. But
Mhm.
I see some kind of
Yeah, he's
pervert.
like, and the way he presented it and the way he set up the table. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Girl, I don't eat beef. But what did you think about that meat? Off the subject.
Oh, it looked delicious to me.
I
I
thought people like pink meat.
No, some do, some don't. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? But I'm just talking about overall the setup and how he had it over
he
the free,
presented it
yeah, the
very
steak freak,
well.
and it just really was presented well, and it was very well thought out how the table was set up and everything. And for a
Yes.
moment, I really felt and thought that she was impressed that that did something for her, right? To see
Yeah.
him, because she was like, "Oh, okay, right." And they did it together. You know
That
what I mean?
I was just
They
about to
did it
say that.
together. And that's what I'm saying about by it's weird because they were able to cook together, create this beautiful presence and meal together to present to everybody. There's moments when they're laying on the couch and she puts her hand out, right? And then you have this other moments. You know what I mean? It's just yeah, those moments. Those moments, right? So it is a little conflictual. Yeah, that those moments. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna keep my therapeutic hat off of the table because I don't want to go there. But that right
Yeah.
there said a whole lot.
It's too much. And I like when Chris told him, "Yo, you need to dead that. That's this is like what
I
else?"
told you, Christus has a way of saying the things that needs to be said and having no shame, and he does it in a way that it's not just like coming for your throat, but he's just saying, "Hey,"
Right.
like he's saying the things that other people probably wouldn't say or would be afraid to say, and he's
That's it.
just, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Girl, this was a lot. This was a
Yes, it
lot, but it
was. It
needed to
was.
happen. It
And
needed to
and a lot,
happen.
just like we thought, a lot of stuff is unfolding. You know what I mean? I think it's still early on, but a lot of stuff is unfolding and things are coming out. So, an episode from now might be a totally different story. Who knows?
I will say this one last thing. I just thought of this because you triggered something in my head. The couples have seemed to go like this, but the two couples who have been steady, yet they were on, to me, on opposite ends of the spectrum, are Shay and Josh
Yeah.
and the pastor and first lady. But they're on opposite ends because I feel
They're
like the
absolutely.
pastor,
I know
they're,
they're consistent.
they're
That's the thing. You see consistency with the other couples. You see hot, cold, up, down. Can't quite
mhm,
tell. You're not sure. But even though we know that that might just be a eggshell of a thing presentation that they got going on over there with pastor and first lady, right? That we know that any moment that somebody could just take, a spoon and be like, right? And that's falling all apart, right? We know that, but it's consistent.
I see
And
it's
at this point,
consistently.
when you have so much inconsistency, you're just like, just give me some consistency, even if it's fake,
Yeah.
even if it's eggshell thin on ice, right? Just give it to me, because everybody else is so, like you said, right?
I think they're consistently performing, but they are all, both of those couples are like this. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm excited to see where this goes.
Woo!
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you a question before we go. If
Yeah.
you Who in your heart of all hearts, out of all the couples, can you say you are honestly rooting for?
None of them.
Why does that not surprise me?
None of them.
Why
Hell
does that not
no.
surprise me at all?
Nah. As of
I don't
episode
know.
as of episode 3, none of them.
I'm rooting for Josh and Shay.
I will answer this question. May we I stand
Can we
firm on what
revisit this?
we'll revisit this after Dr. Romney episode comes out.
No.
But right now,
Oh, that's not fair. I'm gonna let you off the hook, though. I'm gonna let
okay,
you off the hook.
yeah, right now I'm not rooting. I don't want anything bad to happen to them or to their relationship, but I'm
Yeah.
not like, oh, this is because she just seemed to go along to get along. I mean, I'm not saying she has to be combative, but
But my thing is this: she may be the go along to get along, and that to me, I think, is just for you coming from a place of you maybe don't necessarily appreciate that, right, in her character.
pinpoint, yes, it's
Right.
triggering because it
But
reminds me of someone.
I will say this, right?
Mhm.
Her just going along to get along, if you look at the relationship, it works for them. That's her choice.
Yeah.
Right? That's her personality, that's her choice. And that might be something in you that you don't value in a woman's character, right? Or you don't personally like, right?
Mhm.
But in terms of the relationship, right? It seems to work for them. Now, if he was the type of guy that, if he was presenting as the type of guy that was aggressive and just take, then I would be like, oh, that's not good for her, right? But it seems to work for their dynamic. You know what I'm saying? So that's
Mhm.
just why I don't necessarily see it as an issue, because I'm looking at the relationship, and that might just be because I always look at things from the relationship perspective and not so much personal. You know what I mean?
Right, like me.
But everybody looks at things differently. But
Right.
right, it works for them. If he was a what do you call it? A liberty taker, or somebody that was, that was bad, then I would go, maybe she might need to tighten that up, or right, then I would see it as a problem.
Mhm.
But it works for them.
It does because they are in it to win it
They're in it,
together.
but we don't know what a year from now, what that's going to look like from being in person for a year. We don't know, right? But for now, it seems to be working for them. It may actually show up as an issue down the road. Who knows?
Right. I mean, if she's
Or that might be just right now, and then she might be like, once she hook him, she'd be like, "Gotcha, bitch," and then flip the script on him. Who knows? Who knows?
that's a good one. That's a good one. And then she turns into Sienna. I'm like, wait a minute, what just happened?
Hey, you never
Right,
know. You never
right.
know with these folks.
Oh my God. Any other questions you had to ask me?
No, no, no.
Oh,
I think
okay.
I got them all out.
That was a good one. Gotcha.
You know me. You know I'm silly.
Can you tell everyone where they can reach you?
Oh, I can be reached at Miss V, Mental Health Matters with Miss V on YouTube. I also have my personal page for my therapy, the Eyewitness Counseling. Eyewitness Counseling is subject to people who are only in Connecticut and Massachusetts. But yeah, you can really reach me on the Miss Mental Health Matters at Miss V on YouTube. Mental Health
Awesome.
Matters with Miss V, MS.VEE.
Good deal.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This was good. This was excellent. We will reconvene at a later date. And
Absolutely. You know, I'm looking forward to it.
thank you
I
so
love hearing your
much.
opinions, because it challenges me. And don't think I don't hear them, even though they're different from mine, because I appreciate all opinions. But I'm
Yes.
just, I got strong opinions.
Yeah, that's why we talk it out like this.
Yeah.
I mean, if we were to,
Absolutely. Thank you again, as usual, for sharing your beautiful platform with me. I
yes,
appreciate it.
ma'am. Also, speaking of platforms, again, everyone, if you want to hear a therapeutic approach to
Mhm.
relationships, click the link in the description, and that way you can see Viola's page where she talks about relationships
Mhm.
and different aspects of it, and listen to it and then relate it to what we just talked about, or relate it to the
Your own
shows, or
stuff.
relate it to
Relate it to your
yourself.
own things. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, relate it to yourself. Very relatable. When I listened to it, I was like, oh, 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 is she talking to me? Ouch.
Aw.
It's that emotional pain point. But no, seriously, listen to it and apply it to where you see fit.
Mhm.
Look at that as a blueprint. Oh my
Absolutely.
goodness. And did you hear that other thing?
Now, what other thing?
That you are a black girl that has her shift together.
That part.
Good
Good night.
night.
This for the queens, sisters manifesting their dreams. Get your cream by any means and beam with self-esteem. Beauty supreme and Buddha walk so mean. The way you fit in them jeans, you eat your cornbread and greens. Dance or a doctor, red wine or vodka. Redesign your spot and redefine your mantra. Retwist your locks and realign your chakras. Doing your squats and getting closer to God, huh? Brunching with your squad or taking a girl's trip. Adjust your crown, you God's gift to the world, sis. Celestial body, drink your water. Meditate, sun-kissed goddess, heavenly order. Levitate, tribe of Ashanti, black girl magic, melanin popping, whether you ratchet or lavish, whether you bougie or savage, you a gift and a treasure. You got to love a black girl getting a shift together. Black girls are getting a shift together. These black girls getting a shift together, man. These black girls are getting a shift together. These black girls getting a shift together, dog.